Oh, that's weird. It seems to have cut off that. That's so odd. Why did it do that? What's up, everybody? How you doing? Hopefully, I'm center screen and not some little blip. I think the I think my little skateboarding GIF is cut off a little bit. All right, that's all right. Look, this is a good. I am cut off. What is going on? All right, hold on. I don't know what is going on. What's up, everybody? I think I'm having some sort of weird camera glitch. Are you guys seeing me totally, or am I just cut off? Hold on, I have to check this out because this is weird and wonky. All right, let me see where we're at here. Cut off a little bit. Oh, good. Okay, so it's just my view of what's going on here. Anyway. Hello. Hi. Welcome to the show. And today I have a special guest. Luke, welcome to the show. Welcome to Adamcast.
How's it going, man?
It is going well. I've been following you for about 8 months. I don't know. A long time, it feels like.
Sounds about right.
And it's a pleasure to get to know you. So, Luke, you were running for a seat in Pennsylvania District 18, right?
Yeah, PA 18, which is Pittsburgh in the South Hills.
Okay, right on. Yeah, and I talk about this all the time. We need a younger generational change in government, right? We need fresh minds. We need the future, and the future is the youth, right? So that's actually part of the reason I saw and followed you, because when I was on Timcast, we had all these conversations. It's one of the things that I was like, we need this. We need people like this.
Yes.
And I saw your policies, which we're going to go over.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's refreshing to see people like yourself of your caliber coming onto the scene.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see that.
Yeah, man, it's been an exciting ride. I mean, connecting with you and being able to build this network and see other young people, even other young people who aren't like me, who have differing policy ideas, come in and be unified in that idea, saying, look, like the old elitist way, politics of the Bushes and the Clintons, of politics of the 90s, they need to go. We need some get rid of the dynasties, right, and get some new competing ideas in here. I think that's really healthy. So yeah, I welcome it.
And get rid of the lawyers.
Yes. Ooh, that's true.
Get rid of the lawyers.
Really true.
Right? There's so many lawyers. And
yes.
Lawyers are really good at political semantics, right?
Yes.
Well, it's not technically illegal because if you look at it this way, the way that it's worded doesn't say this. Like, gosh,
it's funny you say that, because someone pointed this out to me a few weeks ago, and it's saying lawyer politicians or lawyers turned politician are typically really dangerous and can be very bad.
And that's most of them.
Right, and it's most of them because a lawyer's job is to interpret the law to their advantage.
Yes.
A lawyer's job is to exist technically within the Constitution, within the law, while still winning their viewpoint. It's not to directly interpret the law. That's what a judge does. A lawyer says, how can I spin this so I win? And when you see them going political, you should be like, I'm not saying they're all bad, but it's iffy. It's
when
iffy.
When you lay it down like that, though, it's number one, you're absolutely right. And that is a huge issue.
Yes.
Did you hear what he said, though? That sums it up perfectly.
Yeah.
Why are they all lawyers? They're all lawyers.
They're get-aheads. Get-ahead people, front runners.
We need to twist it so we win, period.
Yes.
Oh,
and then you see them become career elitists, right, using things like incumbency to their advantage in the same seat for decades on end. And this is a bipartisan problem. Like I'll tell anyone, I ran as a Republican. I don't think having an R next to your name makes you a good guy. Not in my book.
Right.
I think we've got an elitist problem across the board. And I think it's more prevalent on one side than the other. But I think there's plenty of room for everyone to be scrutinized, for sure.
True that.
Yeah.
And the real issue is they have the public convinced that it's all about the presidency.
Yes.
The presidency.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the presidency. When these lawyers that are trying to undermine the Constitution, really, to put it blatantly, are the ones writing the laws.
Writing the laws at a state and federal level, right?
Yeah.
In the House, in the Senate, and in the state houses. Like a lot of people don't even know that we have state houses. That right? The
Another
essentially
huge
write the
issue.
laws for your state.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is also because of American attention spans, I think, or maybe just modern attention spans. We can all pay attention to one man or one woman running for president, but then when it comes to like, okay, pay attention to who your local and state rep is, it's like, I don't really want to get. I don't want to get involved in that
Politics,
right?
Why would I have to do that? Yeah, because they're writing the laws.
Yes,
that are changing your rights.
Yep.
Which,
it's like
which we already have. We've got these rights.
Yes.
But they're essentially what they're doing is they're saying you don't have this right anymore.
Oof. Yeah.
Now, well, we're going to regulate this right of yours.
Always for safety, right? Or
Always
for your
for
good.
safety.
It's always like for them to get more control, they just need to play the common good card. And this is actually something I don't want to go down too far down a rabbit trail here, rabbit hole, whatever the term is. But we saw this happen with the Patriot Act, which is, in post 9/11 2001. We saw that what all they had to do was kind of come up with an excuse to kind of come into your life and take a little bit of your privacy and a little bit of your liberties, and then they don't even define what they're protecting you from. Terrorism. Like, how do we define terrorism?
Yep.
How do we define victory against terrorism? When do we have victory on the war on drugs, the war on terror? What does victory there look like? We don't know. No one defines it.
Lawyer speak.
Because now, right, it's lawyer speak because now they have the big bad war on drugs, the big bad war on terror, and it's all this justification or the big bad war on COVID to take away your freedoms.
Boom. And we're seeing it over and over and over again. And if you look into these bills, they're fairly vague.
Yes.
In that same, and you think about what we just talked about with the lawyer talk, and it's like, it's vague for a reason.
Yes.
They want that power. They want to be able to win however they see fit. When it happens, they're like, well, if you look at this
convenience,
law,
and
this law can be applied
interpreted here.
It can be interpreted in this sense.
That's
so we're right.
Yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous.
A guaranteed win. Yeah. That's a lot of the game that's played, and it's dangerous.
Yep, exactly.
And it ignores the everyday man, right? The everyday man and woman who kind of gets caught in the middle of these power struggles. They get forgotten. They get ignored.
Which is most of us.
Yeah, it's most of us.
Which is most of us. So let's put a pin in all this.
Okay, yeah.
We'll circle back.
Oh no, what's her name even?
Jen Psaka.
Yeah. The new White House press sec. Yeah.
I like to call her Jen.
Circle back.
Circle back, Psaka. So yeah, let's talk about you. So where did you come from? Where are you from?
Yeah, so born in Delaware,
Cool.
raised in South Jersey. Most people don't think of Jersey as being a very country place. We talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
But South Jersey, I'll tell you, dairy farms, cornfields, wheat fields, soybeans, and then the water, the beach. I love surfing. I love the Jersey Shore as much as people hate on it.
Well, no, I gotta hold on. I'm gonna interject here. The Jersey Shore is actually quite nice.
It's really nice.
All right?
Yeah.
The show,
Yes,
the
it's
Jersey
trash.
Shore,
Trash.
that little tiny strip of where they go and the type of person, that is not all of Jersey.
For the record, most of what they do in Jersey Shore is like northern Jersey Shore, which is trash. Southern Jersey Shore, man, it's gorgeous.
That's true. That's true. I can vouch. I grew up outside Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So we'd go to the Jersey Shore, and it was
different.
nice there.
It's definitely different north to south. So that's kind of where I was a kid, and then I went out to Western PA. Just north of Pittsburgh for college in 2012.
Okay.
And then Pennsylvania became my home. That was kind of my hub from there on out. I joined the Air Force after college.
Nice.
And in the Air Force, have lived in Texas and SoCal, but PA was kind of always like my sticking place, like my home base.
And you currently still surf.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
You're very welcome, man.
I appreciate you.
Very welcome.
Right on. Awesome.
Yeah.
So how long have you been serving?
Just over 4 years. 4 years into a 6-year contract.
Wow. And actually, so wait, you were running for a House seat.
Yes.
And you're in the Air Force currently.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, so I am in a guard unit, and I'm able to do something as what's called a DSG, a drill status guardsman, where you essentially, to use like civilian terms, you cut back your hours. So
Okay.
you say, hey, depending on need and demand, can I please have less orders? because I want to do other things in my civilian life.
Okay.
And if there's need, if we go to war with China, or if your job is in high demand, if they're like, oh my gosh, we need more of what you do right now, then the answer might be no. And they might say, no, sorry, we can't come back to your orders. But by and large, they try to work with you on that. And so that's what I did to campaign, and that's what I would do as a rep as well. We actually have Tulsi Gabbard is, I believe, still in the
she's
Hawaii
active.
Guard. I think she is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have, I think, like 6 to 8 sitting House members who are Guard as well.
What do you think of Tulsi Gabbard?
I like Tulsi.
You
I
do?
like Tulsi a lot. Yeah,
I do too.
I wish Joe Biden had picked her. My heart would be at a much greater peace right now.
Me too.
I don't know why he didn't. I think she was so popular.
Because she doesn't want war.
Yeah, because she's not like... Yeah.
She is the old school Democrat.
Yes.
Or I don't even know if Democrats were ever... Like, the more I learn about the political scape, I'm just like, my goodness.
I know.
I can say she feels like an old school liberal. Like 25 years ago liberal.
Yep.
Not the new
classical
age liberal.
definition of
classical
liberal,
definition.
Freedom, independent loving.
That's what I feel
loving.
like. That's more along the lines of what I am.
Yes.
So what you said, the video that you first saw me in,
yes.
they called me a liberal, and I'm
That's
like,
right.
well, technically they're not wrong.
Yep.
Because I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm a liberal, libertarian.
Yes.
Kind of vibe.
I'm more towards the conservative side, but I have a good bit of libertarian in my blood, in my political blood as well. And that's the first time I really was kind of drawn to dig into who you are as a person and your process of becoming, or not of becoming, but of maintaining your right to be a free thinker.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw. I was like, I have to connect with this guy. I was like, this guy seems so awesome. And you openly, dude, it was very magnetic. Like you watch someone refuse to be defined by social and political boxes and say, no, let me ask questions of this narrative. Let me push a little beyond the CNN news clips, right? And the Fox news clips. And let me dig here. And I saw you doing that, and I was like, this is awesome. And yeah, I mean, you're more of just someone who refused to be defined by what they told you to believe. Yeah. And that's cool.
Yeah, that's been my whole life. I don't like conforming, following the narrative. I've always just forged my own path, whatever I'm going through in life. My sister actually tells me, she thinks I'm crazy. She's like, I don't understand how you just like fly on the edge of the seat, just live in life, and when the wind blows the sails this way, I'm like, you know what, I'll go this way. You know, that's cool.
Yep.
Thank you, though.
Live on the edge of your seat, man. I love that. Fly by the seat of your pants. I think there's a lot to be said for that. Kind of make it up as you go, but you know who you are all along the way.
Absolutely.
It's like a create your own adventure. That's a good way to view life.
Now, I have to bring this up. You just said something that I was just like, I have to ask him this.
Okay.
So you said if you were to, say you won the election, right? And you were in, and then they said, all right, we're going to war with China.
Yeah.
You would have to go fight.
Yeah, probably. So there are some specifics there. There might be like an exception if you're a sitting House member. I'm not sure exactly what they do. They'd have to prioritize one service over the other.
Well, my question though, do you think that's going to happen? Do you think we're on the brink?
So I think that we've been at war with China for a long time.
Ooh.
I think that we've been at war with them economically, and socially for at least a decade.
Yeah.
And technologically as well. So I think that the reason we haven't come to traditional warfare to trading blows traditionally is because we can't, because of mutually assured destruction, right? Nuclear peace theory. People talk about this stuff. And for anyone who doesn't know, the kind of quick version of that is we know that whoever loses the fight, let's say you're America and I'm China, whoever loses still has nukes. So are either of us to really believe that the losing side is going to go, all right, you beat me traditionally, forget my nukes, I guess we're done? No, we know what's going to happen.
It's true.
The loser's going to say, screw it, bink, and then everybody dies, right?
Yeah.
So that is the reason that I don't think we're going to go to traditional warfare with China, because that's still a reality. But I think we are at war with them in every other sense that is possible under the current circumstances. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Total sense. Where my mind always goes to is, so what now?
Yeah.
So if we are truly at this point where we're on all battlefronts at war with them,
yes,
except for physically trading blows, when does it end? Or does it end?
Yeah, I think that second part is what kind of comes to mind for me is like, I'm not sure it does. I'm not sure, because even economically, even though that's more of what like political scientists would call like soft power, that's more less than the military power. Even though that's soft power, once someone loses economically, I'm not sure that they're just going to roll over there either, because they still have a powerful army on either the American or Chinese side. They still have nukes. So I'm not sure it ends. I think this might be kind of, it's like this toxic relationship where we're codependent economically and somewhat codependent in a geopolitical sense. And I think, I don't know how or if that would ever end. I really don't.
Yeah, we're in a really interesting time too, because they're going to the moon. Mm-hmm. They're creating their own space station.
Yes.
You know, I've had a few space experts on my show over the past 4 months, and we've talked about Space Force.
Space Force.
You're in the Air Force, so
Yes.
you know that you guys used to take care of the space stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's Space Force. They have
Handing
their own
off
thing.
the baton.
Handing off.
Yeah.
And I actually have. If you see, this is the original Space Force badge from when it was in the Air Force, and now the new badge.
When did you get that?
These fans has sent me these. So
yeah, the fans are good.
Dude,
wow.
You have no idea. Like my listeners, talking to all you out there, thank you so much for showing up. Smash that like button if you haven't yet. Really do appreciate all of you. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, but back
That's
to
a good looking badge.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they talked about how they're basically coming out and saying, when we get to the moon is ours.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, like they didn't sign the space treaty.
Yeah.
They are not signing it.
Right.
The one where saying if you land on the moon, it's not yours. It's like it's
like the
Earth's.
South Pole, right? Like nobody takes it over, right?
That's what we want it to be.
Yeah.
But they're basically like,
nope.
Do you know who we are?
Yeah.
We're going there. Peace. Our kids want to be scientists and travel the
moon
stars.
scientists. Yeah.
What do your kids want to do? You know, and the answer to that is they want to be influencers. They want to be YouTube stars, which as I'm sitting here on YouTube, you know, ridiculing that. But
no, I get you though.
The
contrast is there still.
Yeah.
And do you remember like I think it was Modern Warfare 2, where like one of the first levels is these guys fighting in space. They're like, you're floating around and shooting each other in like a space station.
Didn't play that game.
Hey, it might happen in real life.
Yeah, I see it.
And the opening that the moon would offer to someone who claimed it for military and scientific purposes. It's the biggest preset satellite orbiting the world that anyone could hope for. So that is, I mean, that's legit. And that's why I think Space Force was one of the best legacy moves that Donald Trump could have made, for sure.
Thank goodness for Biden not getting rid of the Space Force.
Yeah.
He at least said they're going to keep that there. And I'm like, goodness, of all the things he's walking back on.
He'll charge you more for insulin, but Space Force.
You know what? What's up with that?
Dude, it's insane. Why would you do that? Why would you hike up prices on insulin? 800%. 800%. Everybody was happy with the Trump. Like, even
everybody was.
Bipartisan individuals were like, hey, this is one good thing that we can at least like leave alone from Trump, right? But no. But I agree, man. It's good that Space Force is still around. And fun fact is actually, people are being trained for Space Force at the Air Force Academy now. They train right now. They're kind of like under the wing of the Air Force, just because they haven't had the ability to stand up full units. You know, it's new. But there are people who have contracts specifically for Space Force now. Like it's already happening. You don't see it yet. But they're going to get their own uniforms. They're going to get their own bases. I mean, we already have bases that are essentially dedicated to space missions. But it's going to become official. So that's cool. It's pretty exciting.
So the Air Force bases that are dedicated for space missions,
exactly,
those are going to be transferred over. It's like, all right, this is just like kind of like scratch air off. And just space.
To my understanding, that's exactly it. And I think that the Air Force is going to be a little pissy about it. Just like, you know, when the Navy has to share kind of the bed with the Marines, they're like, well, but the Marines are ours. Now the Air Force is going to be, Space Force is ours, you know? But yeah, I mean, that's all funding and politics stuff. So
right on.
Yeah.
So have you, what kind of, do you got any crazy stories from serving? I mean, you said you've been serving for 4 years. What do you do? And if you can talk about,
I was going to say,
can't talk about it, don't worry about it. But
Yeah.
if you can, like, what do you do in the Air Force?
Yeah, so I can, but I'd say the most interesting and the craziest stories that I have are ones I probably can't tell.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean the Air Force community's been amazing to me. The Guard's been so good to me. I am what's called a sensor operator, so it's the right seat, what a civilian might call like the co-pilot position for the Reaper. So for the MQ-9, it's intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance.
Those are the drones.
That's right,
like
the
a Reaper
drones.
drone.
Yeah, they replaced the Predator. Yeah, and so they have they have global capability, and I'm sure some of them fly in regions that I am also unaware of. And that's the way it has to be. But yeah, it's a good job. It's a good life.
So wait, do you do like the targeting? Because you're not flying it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Have you seen the new Jack Ryan show?
I have. Yeah. So the guy on there is he's my job. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. That's it. So I would say
that's
a little bit Hollywoodized, but
Okay.
but some of it is accurate.
Wow.
Yeah. But Jack Ryan's a good show, and
You got a bunch of dollar bills on your wall?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So my unit does not. I actually don't know of any unit that does a dollar bill thing.
Okay.
But I'm sure. I mean, dude. I mean, everyone's got their own thing.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that type of stuff. I mean, that's a reality. That's something that I think can be talked about. Is like that's modern warfare. That is not the video game. That's like there are times when I go to work and I have to be taken aback a bit and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is what I do. This is the reality I live in. It is kind of space age in a sense, and it's cool. That excites me sometimes.
It is pretty cool. Like your life isn't at risk.
Yeah.
You're
exactly.
out surveilling. That's what I'd like to think of it as.
Yes.
Because I had an issue with the military complex
Yes.
of America for
Yep.
a long time. Like, why are we the world police?
Yep.
And it's like, then Trump came along and was like, that's one of the biggest things I liked about him. He was like, number one, paying our military members.
Yes.
Because Obama wasn't even paying them properly.
Oh, I like
and
that.
People were pissed
I
about
like those
it.
pay raises.
I've talked to different military members about it, and that was one of their biggest things. But he got them paid, but then also didn't send them out to war.
Yes.
He was trying to scale down.
Only modern president to not start a new conflict or war. The only one. So like, look, you don't have to love the guy to say Bush did it, Clinton did it, Obama did it, right? Like we can keep going.
Yep.
Trump didn't.
It's true.
You got to give props where they're due. And so, yeah, man, I agree. And on the military-industrial complex, so I was on the flip side, actually. In high school, I used to kind of claim the right-wing idea that anyone who was against the military-industrial complex was anti-American and anti-military.
Interesting.
And then
where did that come from?
It's just like it's a right wing, I'd say, staple. It's like it's kind of the assumption. And then I dug into that a bit, and I realized, wait, no, there actually is a military industrial complex. There are instances in which a general just happens to retire and go next door and work for a civilian company, make a lot of money, and then also be able to sell things for possibly too high prices, right? Back to the military. And I realized
to
oversell, right? So one of the most pro-military, pro-American things you can do is to hold those people accountable, actually, to say, if we can buy the best body armor for $12 or the worst body armor on the market for $50 a pop, then we owe it to our men and women who are wearing this body armor to buy the best for the cheaper price, as opposed to what feeds the pockets of the people who want it. So,
well said.
Yeah, I think there's some truth there. Yeah. I'm not saying that all contracting companies are bad or anything like that, but accountability matters for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and they turn into lobbyists, and
yes,
it's not only just that they'll buy the $50 ones; they'll buy 400,000 of them for 100,000 troops.
Yes,
it's like
exactly,
and that's taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
It's like these are the things, and they're not even really transparent about it because of national security, and it's like, well, okay, at some point we have to have some sort of check on the system.
Yes.
And that I kind of want to actually bring up what happened to you now, because we were kind of talking about the check on the system.
Yeah.
So Luke, you were running for a House seat in Pennsylvania 18. Why don't you break down what happened to you?
All right, sure. So I was the Republican nominee for the PA 18 House seat, and starting election night, I started getting DMs on Instagram, emails, Facebook posts, various methods of people from around my district saying the same thing. and there were people saying, hey, man, just so that you know, I know you were supposed to be on our ballot. I know you were the nominee. Your name was absent on my ballot. Only your Democratic opponent's name was on the ballot. The only other option was a blank spot for write-in candidacy. And
That's crazy.
The first one I saw, honestly, I disregarded. I was like, it might be a typo. It might be just a crazy guy. Like, who knows, whatever. And then I started getting more and more and more. And now I have several dozen. I've posted them, screenshots of written accounts on my social medias.
Yeah.
And then I have sworn affidavits from these people as well. Before I went public, I wanted to make sure I got those sworn, legal, notarized statements, because I don't like being someone who dabbles in he said, she said stuff.
Right.
I don't want to say like, oh, I know a guy who knows a guy who said I was on his ballot. I think it might be true, or it might not, and it might make me look very foolish.
Correct.
But once I have written accounts and sworn statements, that's where I come out and say, whether it's error or fraud, I don't really care. The bottom line is the election was unstable and inaccurate.
Yes.
That's what matters. Error,
Right.
Fraud, that's up for debate.
However you want to label it.
However you want to label it.
It doesn't matter, because
Yep.
it exists.
Yeah.
That when you were chosen as
Yeah.
the Republican candidate.
Yeah.
In your district.
By thousands of people,
Yeah.
by their endorsement, their time, their money, their signature, and by a lot of my own time. Like this time last year,
Mm-hmm.
I was going around in the cold, knocking doors, getting signatures every day,
Wow.
sun up to sundown. So it is personal to me. I'm like, I went through the legal process to be a name on this ballot. Thousands of people wanted me to be this name on the ballot.
Yeah.
And whether it's a mistake or anything else, I should have been there.
Yeah. So but you did see, some people were saying they did see your name.
Yeah. So
So your name was on some ballots.
yes, and this is actually really interesting because there's a precedent set for this in a legal case that me and Sean Parnell, who ran just next door to me.
Yeah.
I've
met Sean. He's great.
Sean, he's a good guy, also a veteran, and we sued the Board of Elections because in the mail-out ballots, which went out prior to Election Day, they screwed it up so that there was a misprint where the wrong candidate was listed in the wrong district. So some of them were correct. Some of the mail-out ones went out and didn't need to be withdrawn, redacted. But some of them, 30,000 of them, were illegal. And then so we sued the Board of Elections. We got it corrected because they were mail-in ballots and we had time to do it.
Yeah.
So the only question is, did essentially the same thing happen, a misprint, only on Election Day ballots? So it's like when people, push me on this, I'm like, wait a second. 2 weeks ago, we had a legally recognized case where this same thing happened, misprints that affected ballots.
Right.
So the only question is, did it happen again?
Right.
I mean, I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to ask.
I agree. I agree completely. And that's one thing that I've been talking about so much in the past month and a half, 2 months, is transparency.
Yes.
And that's why people are so pissed out there, because we aren't getting transparency when we're seeing these discrepancies.
Yes.
Especially like for you and Sean, I didn't know you were on that. I knew about his lawsuit.
Yeah.
But the fact that you were on that lawsuit with him, and it proved that there was some 30,000 mail-in ballots that were fraudulent.
Yep.
And
that
illegal
wasn't
ballots.
debated. Like everyone owns that. They're like, yep, they were illegal. We needed to redact them. That's not like some right-wing conspiracy. It's like everyone knows that.
Well, guess who didn't talk about that? That's right, the mainstream media.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's right.
But the reason why I brought this up is because we were talking about, holding the military accountable, holding of the people that were making the budgetary decisions accountable, the transparency. And it's like, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do about this? If they did screw you over, was it a mistake?
Right.
Was it a mistake? Was it a misprint? And if your name was on there, would it have changed the election? I don't know. I'm not saying that it would have.
Exactly.
You might have lost.
Yep.
But that's fine. But the fact remains is there was a discrepancy. There was still your name wasn't on. See, this is what bugs me. It is that your name was on some ballots and not all ballots.
Yes.
So that means they're picking and choosing, or it was a mistake.
Yep.
It's one or the other.
Exactly.
And either one is bad.
Is a problem. Either one is a problem. And that's the thing I like to remind people of, especially people across the proverbial aisle, right? Is like, look, are we just going to wait until this becomes a big enough problem to flip a national election?
Right.
Are we just going to wait until this happens to your guy or your girl? Because I think that if it happens to anybody, including my opponents politically, it's wrong.
Yep.
We need to have a legal process and a transparent process that's reliable so that we can protect our democratic republic. I mean, that's what we're built on.
Yes. Yes. I have a feeling everyone that's watching the show right now is like, yes.
Nice.
I look over and I see someone in chat just said, I like this guy.
Oh, nice.
Well, integrity, authenticity are very easy to tell nowadays. You hear someone talking and it's very easy to see if they're authentic and believe what they're saying.
Yes.
And they're not BSing you.
Yep.
I get that from you, and it clearly translates. We were talking about Beto.
Yeah,
earlier,
yes.
Right? Because he's running. I think he's running for governor now.
Is he?
Or
Yeah.
he said. I think I heard rumors that he might run for governor, and I'm like, good luck,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Texas is gonna eat him up.
Yeah, I think so.
But he doesn't have that on camera feel.
No, I don't think he does.
He just kind of like.
He seems very fake.
Yes.
and he seems like a left wing version of Mitt Romney.
Okay.
Like someone to me who slicks back their hair, gets the whitened teeth and the Colgate smile, and they seem unbelievable. They don't seem real. They seem
Say
very
all
fake.
the right things.
And that's it. Say the right thing. So the politics of the 90s, the old way of politics was this. Tell people just enough so that they think you're on their side in everything, but not enough to give them the details that really matter.
Yeah.
So make empty promises, right? Make them think that you're their guy, and then anytime anyone asks you for something deeper, pivot. Right, switch a topic, or give it,
or circle back,
right? But now, what people want, I think, in a pretty bipartisan way, which excites me, is no. Let's hear about the nitty gritty. Let's get to the details. Let's get past those talking points.
Exactly.
And I think that's awesome. So it's let's be a little bit more transparent. Own that no one's perfect.
Yep.
And so, newsflash. None of us is ever going to agree with a politician 100%.
Agreed.
And I don't think we should.
Or agree with anyone else,
for
that matter.
That's a comparison
right?
I give all the time, man, is look, if there's good communication, you can work through disagreements with your wife, your girlfriend, your best friend, your dad, but you're not going to agree with them all the time.
Yep.
I don't agree with any of the people who I love all the time, and that's okay because we have transparent, good communication. And it's why should that be different for our representatives? It shouldn't be, but it sadly has been.
I've got to be honest. I am having a hard time not dinging this bell. I gotta say it. This was a gift. Someone sent me this. I don't know if Jason Dixon is in. I don't know if I see him, but he got me this. He sent me this vintage hotel bell, and I'm just I'm in my head. I'm like, everything you're saying. I'm like, this is so spot on. I'm just like, ding, 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 ding.
Nice. Hey, there you go.
I don't know how loud that was. So sorry if it was too loud. You're so on point with a lot of this stuff. And you know what? Let's talk about your policy.
Yeah.
Because you have a really good platform. You on the surface you seem like a relatively traditional Republican, with a few exceptions though.
Yeah.
There's some things that are a little different. I have your website up. Check us out.
Nice.
This is his website. Negron 2020 platform. Of course, it's a little outdated.
Yes, it will be. It will be.
Don't
updated
worry, I'm not judging you.
More modern, just to me and my beliefs. But this was kind of the campaigning stuff.
But I want to go to your. This is your policy issues.
Yes.
And a lot of these things, I'm like, yes.
Nice.
And I want to just go over them.
Yeah.
First thing is term limits. Now, you can go check it out. We're gonna freestyle all about this stuff.
Awesome.
Instead of just reading, because I got you here. Why would I do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
But you agree on term limits.
Yes.
And I am totally with it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain why you think so?
So the argument against them right now is well, we have term limits. They're called elections, right? And or people will say, okay, well, why didn't the founders implement term limits? To both of those, I say it's because we didn't need them when the country was founded. Elections have changed. So the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, which sets monetary guidelines for campaigning, that was implemented in the 1970s.
Wow.
And it gives immense advantages to an incumbent. The long story short, an incumbent can raise money for his entire tenure. So for me, I was running against a 26-year incumbent who
Right.
had 26 years to raise a war chest. I had 10 months to compete with his 26 years.
Wow.
That's just one example of FEC guidelines that give the victory, the advantage to an incumbent.
Wow.
And that was implemented long after the founding of the country, right?
Yeah.
And then we have developments in name recognition, in social media, in modern media.
Good point.
All of these are things that are massive advantages from a voting perspective that were not around in the 1700s.
That's true. Social media didn't exist.
It didn't exist, right?
Yeah.
So, and you have all that time as an incumbent to build that. On top of that, incumbents can use your taxpayer dollars, including their opponent's taxpayer dollars, to send out campaign-style mailers, as long as it doesn't directly say like a call to action, like vote for me.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm an incumbent and you're my challenger,
Okay.
and you're in my district, so I'm getting your taxpayer dollars, right? I can use your taxpayer dollars to send out a mailer that says, Luke Negron, your governor, has brought back jobs, has done this. As long as it doesn't say vote for Luke Negron, I am using taxpayer dollars to pay illegally to pay for what everyone knows is a campaign ad.
Clearly.
So those are just some examples of why we need term limits. And then we get into the problems of elitism, of sellouts, of people on both sides of the aisle who go to Washington or go to their state capital and forget about their neighbors who they were meant to represent. And they believe that they're better. They believe that they're in a separate class. I don't like any of that. And I say the best way to avoid it is term limits. Get them out.
I'm speechless because I agree 100%.
Nice.
Like, and you're bringing points that I didn't even think about. I don't even realize because I'm just like, it was the last part, the elitism. That's the reason I'm like, the more they're in there, the more these lobbyists get to become friends with them. Look at Gavin Newsom.
Yep.
He just went and he was having dinner at a birthday friend. Yeah, it's also a lobbyist that has been lobbying to you for a long time. Oh, it's your friend. Like, no, he wasn't. He's your lobbyist.
He's a
buddy.
power broker.
He's a power broker.
Yes.
Exactly.
This is an oligarchy. Like,
Yes.
this is what is being built in modern America, is an elitist ruling class. It's never what we were meant to be.
Exactly.
Our founders wanted part-time politicians.
That's what we need.
That's what we needed. And if we can't get back to part-time, at least give them a term limit.
Yep.
Where they have to leave, they have to move on, they have to lose their incumbency advantage after 5-6 years, whatever it may be.
I agree 100%. So boom, that was number one. I mean that's fire if you ask me. That's some serious stuff. This one's a little more tough.
Okay.
This one's so number 2, abortion.
Yes.
Now you're pro-life.
I am. Yeah. So I tell people I am pro-life for two main reasons. Number one, because I'm a Christian, and that influences a lot of what I believe about morality. And I believe that as a Christian, it's pretty clear that the Christian Bible would be on the pro-life side.
Yeah.
And we could dive into that if any Christians wanted to talk to me about that. But that's the summation there. And then number two, though, is because I believe that medically and logically, we have to draw the line somewhere of where life begins. And I believe that medical science and logic would dictate that new DNA being created is the most consistent place to draw that line. I understand why other people have differing beliefs there, and why some people would say, well, what about after heartbeat, or what about after after pain is measured or measurably received, right? And everyone has to draw their line somewhere. What I really can't get past is how the radical left says, no, like there are no limits, right? Like even a minute before birth, or even in some, like the governor, I think it was a governor or senator of Virginia, says after birth, right? Infanticide. Or Tulsi Gabbard, who we were talking about, she said, it's wild. Tulsi Gabbard came out and said, I support abortion, but if a baby is born alive, I support giving it medical attention. So you're allowed to get an abortion, but once the baby's born and it survives an abortion, let's just give it medical attention. Even that was too far for the radical left.
Wow. So
that's where I say, like, okay, like everyone draws their line somewhere, and I get it. But then some people, I guess, don't draw their line anywhere. Yeah. Literally anywhere, which is it's insane to me.
I mean, I'm pro-choice.
Yeah.
But I think that it doesn't, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life.
Yeah.
No one can deny that it is a lack of accountability that leads to it.
That's true.
It's being irresponsible, and then it's leading to even making a choice, whether to have the baby or not. it's still you're being irresponsible.
Yes.
You're not being you're not being held accountable. Like back in the day, you would have the child, you would get married to the person, and that would be your life. And that's how it was for who knows how long it was, for a long time. So I see so much about life being pitching your problems on someone else, getting rid of your self-accountability. And that's one of the biggest issues with these far left people is they want to blame everyone else for their problems, and they don't want to deal with any problems,
even to the extent of making other people pay for it. It's like the pro-life argument is like, well, why take it out on the baby, right? But then it's like, okay, why take it out on the baby and make that random guy down the street pay for it? Like, you can't even pay for your own abortion. That's like we're just moving the goalpost further and further beyond any type of personal responsibility.
Agreed.
And I think that's we can have differing opinions on where we should draw that line, but there has to be some kind of standard that we hold people to.
I mean, late term. As I said, I'm pro-choice, but late-term abortion and after birth abortion is just, I don't understand it. I'm like, whoa, there's at some point you have to accept reality, and it's a child.
That it's a child. Yeah.
Goodness sakes. Poland just made it abortion illegal, except in terms of incest, rape, and if it endangers the life of the mother.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
I could support that.
I can get behind that.
It.
Like, that's like, who wouldn't? I don't know. There's some that makes sense to me.
It does.
Are you just being irresponsible, and that's why you want to have an abortion?
Exactly.
It's like you have to face reality at some point.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. And the cool thing about that, about the Poland move, is that, at least in America, would save about 97 to 98% of babies. Only about 1 to 2% of babies in America are incest or rape. So it's like, so we can talk about that, but I mean, the fact that is why abortion should be okay is disingenuous to me. When people say, like, well, what about incest and rape? You're like, okay, like, can we grant that the other 98% aren't good? And they're like, well, no, we can't do that. And you're like, all right, well then you're just pretending to care, right? You're just pretending to use this as a standard.
Right.
But yeah, and the other thing along with abortion is, and this is more of a pro-choice argument that I support, is we need to reform foster care and adoption. Like, that absolutely has to happen, because I do think that there is a bit of a right-wing blind spot where they just kind of assume that, like, well, save the baby, and it's like, okay, I agree with that as a pro-life person. I agree with that.
Then what?
But then what, right? Then, like, are we gonna do anything to provide a way forward here, or are we just gonna pat ourselves on the back and give this kid to a foster care life that statistics show us is pretty rough right now? So that needs to be handled and changed and reformed absolutely as well.
Yeah, you can't just fix one part of the problem.
No.
You have to look at it all, and if you're gonna really support this system, you got to support all sides of it.
Exactly. You can't it's the equivalent of grandstanding. If you just think, well, I did what looks good, but did I really care about the person? Because the pro-life argument is one that boils down to, we really care about people. So if that's true, then you've got to show that you really care about the person by going the full way and offering them a good life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well said. All right. Well, next one is something I know a lot of Americans are worried about, is gun rights.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm a gun owner now. I wasn't before 2020. Tim certainly wasn't. He was anti-gun.
Yeah.
For a long time. And
I saw the evolution.
Dude, this dude, I mean, he's got guns now.
He's in the backyard with bazookas or something.
No, not at that level. But we did find out that we can legally shoot back there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dope. So we have a nice little target range back there. But so give us your breakdown on guns.
Yeah, I mean, my breakdown is pretty straightforward. It's that the Second Amendment is in the Constitution, and it should be honored nationally. This is something you and I talked about off air. I am not a fan of the rules changing state to state. So literally, there are states where in PA I can legally own a gun, and then if I forget it in my car or roll into the wrong state, I can go to jail for that gun that I am a legal, lawful, law-abiding gun owner of. I think that's ridiculous.
Agreed.
And then going back to Second Amendment as a whole, I think even on the right, there's a misunderstanding about what it's all about. So, like, defending your home from robbers, hunting, target shooting, like you were just talking about.
Yeah.
I'm a former competitive shooter. All great stuff. Not what the Second Amendment is limited to. The Second Amendment at its heart is a recognition that our system is one of checks and balances.
Yeah.
And if and when the American government becomes so corrupt that it is just another authoritarian dictatorship, that is our final check in place. Our final check in place against an abusive regime is the fact that everybody is armed.
An armed society is a polite society.
It's exactly right.
I mean, that's just step one in that, though.
Yes.
It's like they say behind every blade of grass is a gun,
a rifle,
a gun-toting American.
Yes.
And people would probably, I say people like other countries that were thinking about if they actually thought about invading America.
Yes.
Or say the government tried to take over America,
Yep.
like they're going to have a hard time with it.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, if we look at history, right, before Hitler took power, right, he took the guns from the people who he wanted to control.
Mm-hmm.
Before Mao took power, or really after he took power and when he wanted to maintain power, he took the guns from the people he wanted to control. Stalin, same thing. Fidel and Raul Castro, same thing. And so something happens once, you call it a coincidence, right? Like twice, you think it might be a pattern. 3 times historically with the same ideology doing the same thing, you're like, okay, wait a second, there might be something happening here. People who take guns from their citizens might not have good ideas in mind for the future.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
that sums it up very well. And it's an issue. Like we're seeing in the UK, they don't have. Where is it? I mean, pretty well. There's a lot of places.
Yeah.
Although there's some places in Eastern Europe that are now passing gun laws.
Yes.
I don't remember which country off the bat. It's not Ukraine. Maybe it's Ukraine. But they secured.
Ukraine's been through a lot.
Secured 2A.
Yeah.
It really bums me out that I can't think of the country, but they are regaining gun rights.
Yeah.
And they're recognizing the power of it. And it's not that people want to go kill each other.
No. Yeah.
I'm like the furthest from wanting any violence.
Yes.
Like I talk about it constantly. Like violence is not the answer. It cannot be the answer.
Yep.
But it is the final defense against someone trying to kill you.
Exactly.
And there will always look, human beings are great. We're amazing. But everybody's different.
Yeah.
And anyone can be evil.
Yes.
It lies in anybody. So anyone can be driven to the point of doing evil things. And, I would protect my family if I had to.
Amen, man. I agree. And the other thing I'd say on that, just from a purely policy standpoint, is there's a lot of talk about background checks.
Yeah.
You'll hear a lot of, for the listeners, like you'll hear politicians say, we need background checks. As someone who's bought a gun, I can tell you, as a military member, I can tell you, like, we have background checks. You don't buy a gun without a background check. What they mean when they say this, it's a semantic argument.
Of course.
They want a gun registry. It's not the same as a background check. You don't walk out of the store without a background check. What they want is for law enforcement and for politicians to have a list of who you are, where you live, where you keep your guns, what guns you have, and who has access to those guns. A gun registry is not the same thing as a background check. So anytime to like anyone listening, if someone says, well, we need background checks, say, do you mean background checks or do you mean a gun registry? Because say what you mean.
Right. There is a difference.
There's a difference, right? We have background checks.
Good point.
So it's a little pet peeve or a pretty big pet peeve of mine on a policy level that I'm like, these people, like, they say this stuff and they, I don't know if they're drinking their own Kool-Aid or if they're intentionally lying, but either way, they're not sharing the truth.
They're slowly upping the fear mongering and it's all of I just keep saying political semantics,
Yes.
and you're basically calling them out for using it because, now they have people out there now going, you're right. We do need more gun background checks. And it's like, as you said, I mean, when I purchased my guns, like I had background checks and I had to wait for it to pass and it did. And then
call it in, social security number, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So it's actually kind of relieving to know that I'm not on some list.
Yeah.
To know that, I mean, it's hard to actually believe.
I know it is.
I almost don't believe it. I mean, it's like, I feel like they know.
Yeah.
If they know.
Yeah.
Like, how would they not know, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if someone's getting a background check to buy a gun, technically that person can decide not to get the gun.
Yes.
But
that's right.
if the background check was done, they know that it was done. It's still they have to have a
They
registry
do.
somewhere.
I think so. I think if they really wanted to dig, they could. But some of the information is information they'd have to go and get from a private gun shop that they would keep in-house. So,
Okay.
like, I'm sure with warrants and stuff, they can get it, and they probably even have the capability to compile those background checks now. But the standard stands that right now, that's not our legal precedent.
Okay.
That is expected,
Right on,
which
right
I
on.
think is good.
Awesome. All right, next one. This is this one is close to me because this is education reform.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness, I cannot stand education in America. I cannot stand it. I think
rough.
they're indoctrinating kids.
Yeah.
I think they teach the complete wrong things.
Yeah.
My wife is Swedish, and I know about their schooling systems there.
Yeah.
They have trade high schools. They have
Heck yeah.
music high
Vocational
schools.
Yeah.
Vocational schools.
Yes.
Like high schools though. Not,
Yes.
and it's like you get to dabble in what you want to do, before you go get tossed into college. And then
Before you
college.
decide how to categorize yourself with $80,000 of debt and a lifetime on the line, right? Like small
Exactly.
potatoes.
Right, exactly. Well, and that's another thing is the debt that these predatory lenders are shoving down the throats of these kids.
College reform
convincing-
is so needed. So needed.
Right. I mean, I feel it goes hand in hand.
It does. Yeah, it's like step one and step two. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here are my ideas and kind of my standards. I think most people agree that American education is suffering. People disagree as to why.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we look at global rankings, we're slipping, and it's not good. It's kind of embarrassing. So one thing for like K through 6 that I see that is really good. You reference like Sweden, right? Some European countries are doing is shorter hours. More hands-on learning for the kids, more outdoor time, less lecture time. Because right now what we see in the U.S., like even K through 6, is we're treating these 7-year-olds like they're college students. Like they're going to lectures for 8 hours a day, and they're told like good kids sit in their seats and stay quiet. And you're like, no, this is a 7-year-old. A good kid goes and builds something and learns 2 + 2 and learns how to spell, but also stays active and has shorter school hours. And those countries that implement these in Europe, that these shorter hours, more hands-on learning, they're doing better. There's also an idea called portfolio-based testing. So portfolio-based testing is basically just a movement away from just standardized testing. So I have my issues with standardized testing as someone who is not traditionally academic in like an academia sense, a standardized testing sense. I definitely support the portfolio-based testing, which is based on participation, based on speaking, based on projects, based on a lot more creativity rather than just the standardized test. And the standardized test factors into it, but it's more of a kind of like a holistic view of measuring education, and it's even more tailored student to student. So I think that's really good. And then I'm a big supporter of school choice.
School choice, absolutely.
I think that any representative who has their kids in either a top tier public school or in a private school should not be allowed to vote on school choice.
I agree with that.
They should be like, hey, what school do your kids attend?
Right.
Oh, like Joe Schmo private school. That's like $80,000 a year. Yeah, you are abstaining from this vote.
Right.
Your vote
exactly.
doesn't count here because like either it does or you have to vote for it because that's clearly how you're voting with your time, money, and your children.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
So
right?
you're sending, you have the choice to put your kids in. Okay, sure, the school is super expensive.
Yeah.
So maybe,
But you do it.
But there's still, see, that's what people don't understand. They think just because if school choice was implicated, that super rich Uber school would get screwed out of something, and it's like, no, they would still exist.
Yes.
But schools across the board have to compete, and that's
competition
what we
drives
need.
Excellence.
Exactly.
It's, like, that is
we've
the
lost
gorgeous.
that.
And if a good public school is so desired by the inhabitants that are around it, they're going to take their vouchers or their tax credits or whatever it may be. There are different ideas of how to implement school choice.
Yeah.
Basically, for those who don't know, it's your money coming back to you. Your money that you pay for education anyway, coming back to you so that if you choose a private school, you're not paying twice, once through taxes, once through the school fee.
Exactly.
So your voucher, your tax break, whatever it is, comes back to you, your tax return. And then if you like your public school, if it's awesome, you go there anyway because it's more convenient because it's right there. It's already established. But if it really sucks or the people who would be helped most here are low-income individuals, low-income families who are already taxed. And now they say, wait, I got this money. Now, of course, there has to be a government system where you prove that you're spending it on education. You're not spending it on anything else.
Right.
But I can now choose to go to this nice school with this, whatever, $5,000 that was taken out of my paycheck anyway, annually.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing that will raise up communities, I think, and like you said, create competition.
That's
and
what we
love
need.
that.
We need that because honestly, it's the lowest class. Wherever it does, the lowest class is really the people that need this. The education. I mean, education is so important. And it's funny. I glanced over and someone said, "Well, you went to school in America," and I was like, "Okay." And I learned most of my life from my father, my family, and the internet and my friends. Like, sure, what did I learn from school? I know some history stuff.
Yeah,
but like my common sense, my love of logic
came from elsewhere.
My abilities to build a house, like, all my abilities I learned from my family.
Yes.
You know, it's like, what did I learn from school? I could have not gone to school and I probably would be the same.
Still been who you are today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's sad, honestly. Like, it should, because how many hours and weeks and months did you spend in school, right?
Yeah.
Like, how awesome would it be if that was something that really pointed you in an awesome direction and geared you up to be successful? You had to do it on your own. And then, like you said, another. There are so many education reforms, but I mean, we could go on about this for hours.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Vocational and trade schools, man, we have to normalize those.
Yeah, make trades
great again.
we don't even. I mean, I worked in the trades. My dad owned his own heating and air conditioning business, and I worked for him. And I met electricians, and I watched like how a building is put together, and I realized like this is like the muscle of a society. The truckers are the blood.
Yeah.
The tradesmen are the ones building the lives around us.
It's true.
And like we don't see it.
Well put. Yeah.
We don't see it.
And
those are the jobs in the future.
Talked down to. They are the jobs of the future. We're always going to need them.
Always going to need them.
They're not going away. And yet we're told that that the only way forward is to go to college. And
that's ridiculous.
And look, I went to college. I loved college. It was great, but it's not for everybody.
Exactly.
Just like the military. Military's great. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Trade schools, they're great. They're not for everybody. But we need to get away from this. Again, I come back to like the 90s narrative. I was a 90s baby, so that's why.
Okay.
Like the 90s narrative of like, you want success, son? Graduate, do well in high school, graduate, go to college, then get a 20-year job and retire. And it's like, that's not how it works anymore, man, for so many reasons. So
cookie cutter.
Yeah. That's not it.
Another thing that I always like to do is I feel like we're on the precipice of a new human society with space.
Yes.
With the advent of Elon Musk, SpaceX, what they're doing. The Starship sadly just exploded, Starship 9. I don't know if you saw it today.
No.
SpaceX had another test flight for their new Starship.
With people on board?
No. It's,
okay.
It's just a high altitude flight, and it happened to explode. It's sad, but they learn a lot every time they do it. They're fine tuning things. I think one of the engines failed. But it doesn't matter. What I like to do is like, what is going to be the future of humanity? We're going to have robots. And the one thing I keep thinking about is trades will never go away.
Yeah.
Heating and air conditioning systems is going to be a thing on starships.
Yeah.
Electrical systems is going to be a thing on Starship. Building buildings on other planets. Sure, with the advent of 3D printing and automation, that there's going to be some sort of thing, but we're still going to need experts that understand it. The human aspect are going to have to, go and maintain systems. And think about, if you look up in the sky, right? That is one direction. Okay, if we start sending humans in that direction, that's just one direction. Now amplify it to every direction.
Every direction. It's endless.
Granted, we have certain planets, inhabitable, supposedly inhabitable planet to hit us from the sun.
Yeah.
So, but then for 100 years, the light traveling at the speed of light. So we'd have to go the speed of light for 100 years to get there. Yeah. So, okay, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
All right. And as what Einstein has proven, we cannot go the speed of light. So, obviously we have a long way to go, but we are on this precipice of a new world of traveling and exploring space. So, I want to always figure out, what are we going to do? How are we going to help? And what can we do to get there?
Yeah.
Trades are going to be a thing.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and trades will always be a thing here. Think about colonizing Mars, colonizing the moon, which is going to happen.
Yep.
I mean, who, if you're going to deny, I mean, there's still people that post on my space stuff that say space isn't real. Like, how are you sitting there believing that space is not real still?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Flat earthers and
Yeah. Like, what?
The comical one to me is that like there are certain states that aren't real, right? Like Arkansas
What do you mean?
isn't real. Like
What?
they're like random theories. Like
Is that just a troll?
Yeah, I
though?
don't know. Like that. I
feel
can't
like-
tell these days, man. Like the whole birds aren't real thing. You know, like that's like it was a troll thing. But then like you get people, you're like, I think this guy actually is invested in this. Like I don't know, man. Like it started as a joke, and then some crazy dude like you know.
That's the problem with the internet because
Yes.
people. It might start as a troll.
Yes.
But then there's going to be some people that are like, you know what? That makes sense to me.
Right.
I'm going to run with that.
Right.
And then that causes issues with people saying, well, see, that's the reason we need to censor speech.
Oh, dude.
Because there's some people that believe it. And it's like, oh my gosh, do you understand if you get rid of all speech, then there's no cross-referencing to show this is what hate speech is here.
Yep.
This is what good speech is. We frown about that speech because that one person is being an a-hole, you know, and now we know what hate speech is.
Yes.
True hate speech.
Exactly.
Tom MacDonald in his newest song, Fake Woke.
Fake
Woke.
I have a funny story about
it's
this. It's
blown. I want to hear about this.
Yeah.
They just played it on Fox News, and Tom was
no way.
freaking out about it, and
Fox
I'm a
News.
huge fan.
The failing Fox News.
But there's a line in there that says there's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate.
Yes.
I love that line. It's
I love
so on point.
It's one of my favorites of the song.
Yeah.
It's right on.
Tell me your story about it. I didn't know you were a Tom MacDonald fan.
So actually, dude, I like you couldn't have segued into this better. So I am a Tom MacDonald fan. This is the first time I've ever said it publicly. I'm up until now I've been a closet fan.
Nice.
But here is how I came to know that literally I can proclaim this publicly. Like because of my beliefs, and I think sometimes Tom says stuff that goes too far, and I think he says things in a way that I don't support. But I like Tom. I respect him, and I respect his guts. Like what I was talking about with you, he's a free thinker.
Yes, he is.
And he will not be boxed up. He will not be shut up. And I appreciate that. But I didn't want to give my followers the wrong idea by saying like, oh, I support all his stuff and just share messages that were mixed.
Yeah.
But today, my mom texts me and she goes, have you heard this song? She's like, it's by this guy named Tom MacDonald. And she sent it to me. She's like, it's awesome. Just don't play it around the kids. And I was like, okay, my mom sent me Tom MacDonald. I was like, I responded to her. I was like, Mom, you found Tom MacDonald? Like, this is insane.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like, my mom found Tom MacDonald. Okay, now I can publicly own it and be like, okay, guys, like, yeah, I've been a fan for a while.
You know, I've actually had arguments about Tom MacDonald on my Twitter.
No way.
Because I mean, I've been a fan of his for almost a year. Like, well,
we probably found him around the same time.
A long time.
Yeah.
Yep. And I really like his stuff because he's so brutal with his truth.
Yes.
And I love that about people. And I post it, and there's a lot of, I mean, I'm followed by a lot of conservatives and people on the right side of politics, and they tend to be more religious.
Yes.
And people have said, like, how dare you post stuff from this guy when he talks about Satan worshiping, and
he's not.
I know he doesn't. But
yeah.
I said, point to me in what song that you're talking about.
Yes.
And then they did, and then I said, I pulled up the lyrics and I broke it down. I'm like, he's saying this.
Yes.
He's not saying it himself. He's calling people out that are actually doing that.
Yes.
And they're like, they don't respond after
There's
that
a difference
moment.
between talking about and endorsing.
Exactly.
Right? Like talking about something is recognizing reality.
Right.
Endorsing is saying you should go do this and I want to be part of it too.
Exactly.
And he doesn't do that.
No.
Like he even jokes about in one of his songs, he's like, people call me a Satanist. He's like, I'm not. Like, and I was like, okay, like that's good enough for me. That's what he says. Like I feel like if he really was one and he wanted to share that message, he'd be like, I am one.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, blah, you know?
Yeah.
But he's not. Yeah. So
yeah, this song Fake Woke is it reminds me, like, I've been a fan for a long time, but Fake Woke, there's something about the essence and the power of that song that is both controversial, perfectly set in the climate that we're in, and he mentions Eminem in the song.
Yeah.
And there's articles that are saying like, whoa, Canadian rapper disses Eminem, disses America.
It's
and
not
it's like,
even a diss.
It's not a diss.
Not.
It's not a diss. It's a truth.
It's a truth. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because Tom goes live on his Facebook a lot.
I actually haven't seen
and
that.
I try to catch as many as I can because I like him.
Me too.
He has a good vibe to him, and he's super grateful to his fans.
Yes.
And I love that because I feel the same way. I'm super grateful for everyone who shows up for me every day. Shout out to everybody out there right now. And he, what was I talking about? So he, I know. So he likes Eminem.
Oh yeah.
He grew up like Eminem proved to him when he was younger, man, like skin color. It's like, if you want to rap, you can be a rapper. And like he talks about like, I said I was going to be a rapper. Now I am.
Yes.
Something about Fake Woke. It feels like he channeled like the power of why I liked Eminem in the first place.
Yes.
Like there was something so powerful about that song, and
refusing to conform. I think like whether you love or hate Eminem, like that's what he was, and that's what drew a lot of people to him. Is like he said all the wild stuff that like there's some stand-up comedian who jokes about how like the most crazy guy in a group of like 9 black guys and 1 white guy is that one white guy because he had to do something insane to gain all of their respect.
Okay.
And like Eminem was like that. Like Eminem set that precedent, right?
Yeah,
he was
true.
the insane white boy who says all this crazy stuff. And Tom MacDonald now I think is doing that in a better way, I would argue, because he's doing it in ways that really matter.
Well,
he's talking about
what I
social
like
and
most
political
about
life.
him. Yes, he is. He's talking about really on
issues that affect people,
issues.
Depression and anxiety and all these powerful things. So yeah. Sorry.
And no, don't be. That's fine. You're absolutely right. And what I do like about his music, it's not classic rap.
Yes.
It's not classic hip hop. I was raised, I grew up in Chicago listening to, Atmosphere, Sage Francis, like these smaller bands that people might not know about, you know. I don't, there's a few others, but, Tom has his own style. He's kind of blended pop, and in one of his songs he talks about this actually, like he was a punk and also wanted to be a rapper.
Yes,
and then
that's clear,
the rappers
even in
hated
his
the punks,
style.
the punks hated the rappers, and it was like this weird, and he was trying to find his place, and then he realized that it wasn't about fitting in, he was just going to do his own thing.
Heck yeah.
And his music definitely presents that,
screams that,
and Nova too has a
that.
huge influence in his
Nova's
music.
so talented, man.
She really is.
She's an amazing
I
editor.
honestly,
and
I would love
producer.
to hire her to come do one of my I don't have a music video yet, but
And
if I'm gonna have someone do it,
dude, you
Nova.
should. I bet you could get her. What's really cool to me about them, this is, as you were talking, I was trying to think of like, what do I really appreciate them beyond like about Tom and Nova and the way they talk, because I agree with them a lot, but beyond that, it's that they are broken people who are open about the fact that they're broken people.
They're not victims.
And like, they're not victim, right? So
that's
they're like,
the thing. They're
this
broken,
is who I am. Had a hard life.
Everyone's
did some bad
broken.
things. Everyone's broken. And I'm going to own that, but I'm not going to play it as a piece to leverage for me to get what I want.
Yes.
And so there's honesty
We
and
need more of
rawness, but not the victimhood and the gimme culture.
Yes.
And it's like this awesome balance that we don't see a lot. Sometimes you see people trying to replicate that, but they do it in, like you said, victim status.
Yeah,
So, I'm
can't stand
broken
it.
and like you should pity me and you should support me because I'm broken.
No.
It's not what Tom does.
I don't want your pity.
Right? So very cool, actually. And that can be applied to movie stars, politicians, social leaders, businessmen, and to each individual in life. I think being that raw in your relationships is so attractive.
Yep.
Because people see that and they're like, okay, this is an honest, open person who's like me.
Yeah.
And like maybe they're not like me. They didn't experience what I experienced, but they're like me in that they have their own story. And they have their own weaknesses and their own struggles, and they own it, and they try to thrive anyway, and that's beautiful.
It's as you were just kind of stating that, which is so on point. Something dawned on me because we've been talking politics, and you mentioned multiple times the '90s politics, and that's it's not just '90s. That's kind of how it was for a long time.
Yeah, that's right.
And the advent of social media and the connectiveness that we have. People are recognizing authenticity online now.
Yes.
It wasn't really prevalent because there was fakers and people were, holding up a mask and because online, but it's getting to the point where everyone's understanding the online presence.
That's
so
right.
the political realm, that classic, you're not, you don't have to be purely authentic because people don't see all aspects of you.
Right.
They just see what you present yourself on the news media.
Yeah, on the radio and on the news, on traditional media. Yep.
Yeah, so
you're right.
This now new age place that we're at, someone like Tom, who clearly presents as authentic. I mean, I watch him live, I watch his music. They're one and the same.
Yeah.
He's not a different person. He goes live, he's talking raw about his life. His music talks about depression, talks about, being an alcoholic, talking about his faults.
Yes.
And there's, and I go live, and I mess up, and I've been wrong before, and I wasn't the best at reading whatever. I wasn't the best at being a YouTuber, but people watch me progress, and I present as authentic, and I try to bring my most authentic self.
It's beautiful.
And you, sir, are very authentic, and you present yourself as very authentic, and we need people like you in government. And that's why Trump got elected.
Yeah.
Because people were like, wow, this is what we want, but they didn't realize it yet.
Yes.
They didn't realize what it was that they liked so much about him, is because he was just like, I'm just going to speak my mind.
Yeah.
And the establishment's like, whoa, what are you doing? We don't do that.
Yes.
We got to get rid of this guy.
Yep.
And that's why they're
both
trying
sides
to vilify
hated
it.
Right?
They hate it.
And look at how quickly they adjusted, right? I would argue that in 2016, Trump probably won because of how he used social media.
True.
I don't think you need to like him to say that like he won by bypassing what you were talking about, the old media, where you just put your best foot forward and you hide everything else.
Yeah.
Instead, Trump said, I'm going straight to the source. I'm going straight to the American people through Twitter, and then to a lesser extent through YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Right.
And so he did that. How quickly did they adjust, though? What do we have now in 2020?
Yep.
Censored Twitter, people being blocked from Facebook, fact checking everywhere, where someone says like, "Hey, this is what I believe about this," and then what do? Slap on, well, actually, here's what our independent fact checker said about. Like, they evolved so quickly.
Birdwatch.
They're right, and they saw the writing on the wall, though, and they said, now we need to evolve to keep our control. And so now we need to crack down on this section, which is social media.
Yep.
We can't have that. We can't have free thinkers. We can't have people going directly to their constituents, to the citizenry, or their fans. For someone like Tom MacDonald, can't have that.
Yep.
There has to be control, and that's, dude. It always comes back to control, power,
Yep.
power, money, control. It's all the same.
Well,
that's what they want.
But what we're seeing though is people are going, you know what? Screw you.
I love it.
We're going elsewhere.
Yes.
Fine. We'll leave Twitter.
Yep.
They're going to go to 100 million people joined Telegram.
Yes.
In the last month alone.
Yes.
100 million people. That's nuts.
They grew by what? That's like 1/5. They had what? Like
they had 400 million.
400. Yep.
Now there's 500 million.
Yeah.
In 1 month.
That's insane.
So you can see people are going, you know what? Fine. Twitter, Facebook, Google, like all these people with these crazy amount of powers people are now moving. People ask me constantly about going to another platform.
Yeah.
Why are you still on YouTube?
I know.
And it's like, I have a good solid platform here.
Yeah.
I am setting up other venues. I have
options.
I have a Rumble. I have a BitChute now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how I can stream to all of them at once.
Yes.
I'm working on it. But right now I have a solid platform on YouTube to get someone like your message out there, someone like Eliza Blue, to get her message out there, and just to report on my own findings on life.
Build like not only your communication with other people, but build who you are.
Yeah.
Like it's people forget that individuals in the public eye, they're growing. It's not like, the Adam that people found maybe a year ago or 6 months ago he's grown.
Yep.
And that's natural. And so this is for those of us who are, maybe more extroverted or more drawn towards public life. It's a need. It's not only a desire, it's a need, because it's who we are. And you say, this is how I grow. So it's internal and it's external. But yeah, man, regarding all of the people going elsewhere, dude, like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, when all the social media lockdowns started happening, I lost thousands of followers on specifically on Twitter, between people leaving and then people getting banned. it was insane.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely
down
wild.
11,000.
I think I'm like down like 7,000, but I had way less than you.
It's
So,
crazy
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
But, it's like, not that matters to probably. I doubt that it matters to you.
No, it's
the amount of followers you got.
it's the precedent that
Yeah,
matters.
exactly.
To me. It is like, why can't these people be allowed to communicate with me and with each other?
Well, I reported on this yesterday. I don't know if you know this, but mainstream media, Washington Post came out and said, "Well, listen, it's fake news. It's
I saw
it's
this.
disinformation.
Yes.
that conservatives are being squashed.
Yeah. It's so bogus. The level of hypocrisy that is being shown in 2020 and now 2021, and that people are being told, you accept that. That's
Yep.
reality.
Exactly.
It's literally like someone comes up to you and slaps you across the face and says, like, you didn't just get slapped. Don't you say you just got slapped. And you're like, what are you selling here?
Can't even tell you.
You're
What?
right. It's insane.
It's ridiculous.
It's a denial of reality, and it's sad. It's sad, but people are fighting back, and we can
they are.
stand up, and I have to say these days, fighting back socially and politically, not literally, because someone's going to cut that and say,
true.
Fight what? Like, no. But like you, man, I'm against that. I'm against violence. I don't like seeing what happened in DC. I don't like seeing 8 months of what happened from left-wing riots and people being killed and beaten up. I don't like any of it. What I would actually say dislike even more than that, though, is the hypocrisy around it. When people say
Truth.
one time it's okay for our side, but on the other side, the other time it happens by our opposition, that's the only time it's not okay.
Yeah,
that's when I go, wait a second. So you don't care about lives, you care about making a statement. You
Right.
care about grandstanding.
Yeah, it proves it.
That proves it. It proves it. It's like, as long as the blood buys you power and control, you're good. But as soon as the blood can be used for you to demonize someone else, then it's like, oh my gosh, we love peace and like patriotism, not in America. It's like, dude, shut up. You were fine with this for months.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely fine when it was in our backyard. I'm releasing a video. We'll probably go out tonight about this. So.
Oh, word. Where are they gonna find that?
Instagram. So
That's real.
Real Luke Negron. Yeah.
You can see it right there, Luke.
That's it.
Real Luke Negron. That's
Yes. I
your
didn't even
Instagram.
notice. I've got the flag behind me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I just put that the other day. I tried hanging it outside. Someone actually sent me a flagpole.
Nice. Wow.
So
What?
I went and bought a flag for it, and the flagpole, it's so windy here that it took the flag right off.
Dude,
and I was like,
I was
"No,
driving
the
here and
flag!"
my car is being like pushed on the road.
It's windy here, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm
yeah,
from
it is.
Chicago, so I'm actually kind of
Yeah,
used to
windy
the wind.
city, man.
So
Yes.
there's no joke. I mean, Chicago is
joke.
straight up windy.
I don't know how the skyscrapers stay up, man. I've only been
Yeah.
there like twice. Yeah.
It's a cool
nuts.
place, though. It's a cool
It is.
place. All right, we got to get into some super chats.
Nice.
Let's get into this. Hopefully, get into some good questions. Let's see. Minion says, "No American gladiators, no peace." Minion's been trying to get me to
Do it.
bring back American Gladiators. I honestly, as a kid, I really wanted to go on that show. That's no joke. Let's see.
We should
Andrew,
bring it back.
We should, right? We should. Andrew says the Queen's 1920 100-year peace treaty ended in 2021. Interesting.
No.
I don't know anything about that,
Neither do I.
but I am absolutely going to look that up. That is interesting. All right, I'm going to check that out. IB Rippenham says, is Luke willing to defend fart speech? Fart speech is free speech. Luke, this is a pressing issue for IB Rippenham.
I would. I am a supporter of free speech across the board. So yes. Yes.
Across the board. You heard him, IB Rippenham. That is an absolute yes. Hydro says, what's your opinion on the Southern Poverty Law Center?
Oh, I think they probably mean Southern Presbyterian Law Center or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know what it's about.
So I've heard this is I believe this is a fairly radicalized group. I don't want to speak too much on it because I've heard like here and there about them, and there's questionable stuff, but I couldn't tell you details.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a Southern Poverty though. I think it's like the Southern Presbyterian Law Center or something. We'd have to look that up.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know much about it, Hydro. Thank you for the question, though. Filthy Jim says, #give Taiwan nukes.
Taiwan is being threatened by China. That's probably what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's one of the reasons that our naval fleets and stuff are so active, like in that region, because China wants to expand. They're literally building islands to extend their or to push back the international waters and extend their national waters
into the South China Sea.
Yeah.
And it's called the South China Sea, but
yes.
We should maybe rename it before it's too late. Before they're like, you named it.
It's ours. President Xi is like, this is ours now. It's the name.
They're basically saying that.
I think Taiwan is, to my knowledge, they're pretty friendly to us and just to the idea of like liberty.
Yeah.
And so they're worth defending.
I agree.
In my mind.
I agree. Friendly Neighborhood Sawyer says SN9 crashed on reentry. Godspeed SN10. PS 45 2024. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs again. I think this impeachment trial is going to bomb. I think they're
hope
just,
it does.
No, they're trying to distract from Biden doing all the bringing the insulin back up 800%. Like, why? What people don't want to know about. They don't want people to know about that.
Exactly.
Because if they knew about it, his ratings would drop.
Yes.
I mean, they're not very high anyway. Although I just read an article. They're like, his ratings are better than Trump's, and I'm like, do people know what he's doing?
Right. He's never in the news.
I know.
It's because he's protected, as he has been for pretty much his whole career. Sadly. 50-year career.
48 years.
48. Gosh.
People say keep using 47, but it's 48. I did the math.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's 48 years, and he's done nothing but terrible stuff. I feel like you and I could probably rag on Biden.
We could
the entire episode.
He makes it too easy. His quotes, his policies.
It's true. Sadly enough. The man behind the screen says, missed your last few shows, Adam. Glad to make it back with such an interesting guest in the studio. Here's a few bucks for Whiskey Fund. Thank you so much, Oz.
Nice.
I appreciate that. And I do agree. It's been a pleasure having you on, Luke.
Dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolute a blast.
Definitely. Augustus says, 412 here. I'm in the same boat as Luke. Luke, are you a part of any conservative group in Pittsburgh? I want to help turn Pittsburgh red.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, so I'm actually, well, you know what? I'll make a brief announcement here. So I'm starting a group that's going to be national, but it's called AMASA, A-M-A-S-A. It's Americans Against Socialist Authoritarians.
Nice.
And there's a whole story behind the name, which I'll share at another time, but I'm starting this. This is for specifically young people, and even more specifically, young Hispanics. I have Hispanic heritage. I think a lot of Hispanic immigrants, illegal immigrants, are going to be legalized under the Biden regime and leadership. And I think that they need to be reached with a conservative message of why many of us distrust socialism. Lots of the Cuban immigrants in Florida understand this. Oh, yeah. I want to share that message. So yes, I'm doing that. I'm also part of I'm kind of supporting a Stop Suicide and Anxiety in Veteran Communities group called Restore 22. And then there's a cleanup organization we started actually kind of by working a bit with Scott Pressler, who some of you guys may know, called Cleanup 412. And so all of these are things I'm involved in. But yeah, man, you can DM me. And yeah, I'm looking to stay very active until I run again.
That number 22 is something along 22 veterans commit suicide.
I think it's every
is it every?
I should know.
Not every minute.
No, it's
every
not
day.
I think it's day. I think it's every day.
I know. I think my brother actually has a tattoo. 22. He's a Marine, so
yeah.
I know about it a little bit, and it's a sad thing,
Dude, it's in PA. The veteran suicide rate is double that of the civilian population. I don't think it's okay anywhere. I hate to see it for anyone, but it's like that. Those are not good numbers.
And just remember, it's funny. With Eliza on the show, we've talked about getting help a lot recently on this show. If you need help, please reach out.
Yes.
Remember, you're not alone. There will always be someone that is there to help you and to talk to you. So if you are having any issues at all, please reach out. And if you feel like you don't have anyone to reach out to, I guarantee you there is someone who will listen. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Let's see what's next here. Hydro says, just about every lefty liberal thinks that we should use our military money for other things besides the military. How long till we have no power? That's interesting though, because as I said earlier, I was against being the world police.
Yes.
And being against the military industrial complex. But as I've grown older, and I've talked to these space guys, and we talked about why Space Force is now a thing.
Yes,
because it is, it's like a checks and balances system to other countries like China, for example,
international checks and balances. Yeah,
exactly. That they want to take over and aren't, because there are other people or other powers that would stop them.
Yes.
So being world police, like going into Iraq when there was nothing there,
nation
because
building.
of oil or whatever, whatever you want to talk about. We can talk about a bunch of different stuff over the past 50 years.
Yes.
But there's a line that I feel has been crossed, but we can still be a presence.
Yep.
And I respect military
we need to be
members.
And
everyone who chooses to give their time for this country is you're giving something, a part of your life for this for me. I take it personal. Like you're serving for me, and I appreciate you for that. And people need to we need to have a reverence for that again.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost it. You know what? On that note, people need to have a reverence for life in general.
Yes.
And I feel like that's lost in life.
That's right.
Like what happened?
A reverence for life, no exceptions.
Exactly.
It's like, look, like I don't care if you didn't vote for my guy.
Right.
I don't I have a reverence for your life. I have
Exactly.
There's this idea that like, as long as they're not a bad guy, and who's a bad guy? Well, the person that my political party told me to believe is a bad guy. It's like, no, can we just say like we don't hurt each other?
Right.
Like we don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
man.
happened to that?
I
Just
don't know.
human decency.
Yes.
Gosh, wake up and realize that you're still alive.
Yes.
And be grateful. All right. James says, any unidentified aerial phenomena while flying around with the Air Force? Good question. Good question, James.
Actually, there was one. I don't think it was anything, but I just didn't know what it was. That's
Here,
all.
here, go ahead.
Wait.
Spin the UFO real quick.
Right.
You just hold the trigger down.
Here we go. Ready? There we go. I love these things.
It's
Magnetic.
satisfying, isn't
You
it?
can't even tell on the footage here, but it's like it is floating. There's
Oh,
nothing, there's nothing behind.
they know. Luke, they know. All right. But please tell
sorry,
us.
guys, I
please tell us,
underestimated.
any UFOs?
No. I mean, there's one time that I saw something that I was like, "What was that?" And I couldn't find it again. But like I don't think it was anything.
Do you not record? Like, is it not like recording everything that you guys are
we do
observing?
But like for me to go back, it would be a hassle.
Right, because you record
no
everything.
Reason. Yeah. Like the conversations are recorded and everything.
But you said you couldn't find it again. But what was it? What did you see?
It was like something that flew through the screen. And like I mean, planes fly at like fairly high altitude. So like I don't think it was a bird. But it literally could have just been like any aircraft in the region that
it was a UFO.
I was on it. But I mean, in the traditional sense, right? An unidentified flying object. Yes. Actually, this is something fun. Real quick, I'll make this fast. Sorry, I want to get back to these.
We can whatever. We're
okay.
good. We're good.
So here's my theory on UFOs. Right, this is like a public knowledge, safe to say theory. We know that the F-22 Raptor, which is touted pretty much globally as the best fighter aircraft in the world, this is 80s technology. Like we know that this was developed in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Old.
So are you really telling me that we're supposed to believe that that's all we have now? That we have stagnated for 40 plus years?
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I don't believe that. So I'm sorry, like. I believe that we have things that, like, when you look at what the F-22 does, I was looking up. Now, I'm a nerd, so I was like looking up performance videos of it last night.
Cool.
It's really cool. But I'm like, this is old stuff. This is like the drone program. You can look into it. Started in the 90s. Like it was like they were testing things, and I believe even at like a top secret level, implementing them in the 90s. You can look into the history of it.
Yeah.
So like all that to say, this is old stuff. I believe we have UFOs, unidentified flying objects that we just don't know about as a public,
right?
That are need to know, and I guess none of us need to know. But I wholeheartedly believe if you knew what we had, I think we'd all be like flabbergasted.
I think so.
That's
too.
just what I think when you do the math. You're like,
yeah,
40 years.
Yeah,
come on,
think logically, right? Yeah. I mean, just logically, the way technology just kind of goes like this.
Yes.
And it's like it's kind of leveling out a little bit with computers. It's like.
Yeah,
diminishing returns a little bit.
Yep,
but
the whole power problem, right? Of like we need smaller power sources to
true.
Yeah, but still, I don't believe that that's all we have.
Where's Ian to talk about graphene right now? Cause
that's above
future.
My pay grade. Yes, that's awesome.
It's the future, yo. Awesome. Arcadian Twilight says, my grandfather, a World War II Army guy, was just as annoyed when Air Force got spun off.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. The Army Air Corps. Yeah.
Yep. still angsty over close air ground support and trying for decades to scrape the A10 or scrap the A10 without a successor. Your thoughts?
Hey, get out of here, man. Leave the A10 alone.
Leave the A10 alone.
This is probably one of the few things in which I agree with the late John McCain, where he was a pretty big supporter of the A10 program.
Okay.
As am I.
What is the A10 program?
So the A10, the Warthog, some people call it an ugly plane. I think it's amazingly cool looking. It's got like these 2 huge engines on the back. It's built against around the, I believe it's the GAU-8 Gatling gun. It's the size of a VW Bug. It's a close air support staple of the U.S. military, and it's just an absolute tank. Like these things have been shot up and blown apart and still made it back in almost one piece. The pilot survives. It's an awesome aircraft, especially I'll say for the wars we're fighting now. An A-10, because it's close air support, it's low and slow. It would get shot down if we fought someone like China or Russia.
Yeah.
But when we're fighting guys with AK-47s on the ground and with old Russian missile technology at best, the A-10s are safe. And so they're irreplaceable right now. I love them. Yeah,
cool.
So keep them.
They're
keep
pretty
them around,
cool
baby.
looking. I just for those listening, I just pulled up some pictures of it. It's pretty cool looking.
Yes.
Right on. Let's see. Hydro again. Just my opinion. Some women are okay with abortion because it's not them killing the baby. I feel like I mean, we talked about this earlier. Like I'm vegan.
Yeah.
But if I had to not be vegan again, it's going to be to the point where I would have to go kill my own animal, and I would. Yep. Right. I have no issue doing that. We live in a society where I'm privileged enough to not have to do that.
Yes.
And survive. But I would. And I would go do that. I would go fishing. I would kill my own meat. I'd be able to do that. That's a level I wouldn't be able to do. I couldn't do that. It's that's to think about that. If you had to do it yourself,
right?
Would you be able to
do it?
Would you still be able to do it?
That's a good question to ask.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's good. Who was that? Who asked
that was Hydro.
Dude.
Said a few
Nice.
things. Yeah.
Nice.
Hydro again says, I think abortions should be allowed if the mom does the killing and does not pass the guilt and sin to the doctors. Interesting. I don't know how that's viable, but
the ergonomics of that are a little bit right.
Well, and the training to do it to keep the woman survive that.
Yes.
It's a procedure. It's not
snapping your fingers.
Right.
And it's done.
Josh and Jesus says, yes, Adam is pro-choice. So am I. Get over it. What was chat getting all upset? That's okay. I am who I am. You guys either
walk out of
love
this,
me or
flip
hate
the
me.
Table and
No. Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. Hydro says, I think men should teach their sons and daughters to not have sex before marriage. Well, and if you're gonna have sex before marriage, be responsible about it.
Yeah.
Period.
Agreed.
It's that simple.
Yep.
You can have sex. If you're gonna have sex, they're gonna have sex. Who are we kidding? They're gonna do it. Be responsible about. Throw a rubber on there. Come on. Gosh. Glock Candy says, I'm working on a project, Holder Arms, online to a retailer with a W self-hosted BTC server. Banks and credit cards will block online 2A purchases soon. Really? But they probably won't be able to stop Bitcoin, will they?
Yeah, that is one of the nice things of Bitcoin. It's untraceable. You can't tell what it's been spent on.
True.
So all of the databases worldwide are updated, and it says, person X. It won't say Adam. It says person X, right? Like person X spent, 1 Bitcoin today. You don't know who person X is. You don't know what they spent it on, but the system's updated. I think it's awesome.
Yep. Bitcoin,
it's, freedom currency, man.
Cryptocurrency, man.
I'm a believer.
It's taking the power away from the central banks.
I love it.
Yep. Hydro says, how long do you think till the Republicans have the same values as the Democrats? As it is, a lot of Republicans are becoming pro-choice.
I was going to say, I'm not sure that's a how long question. I think that's right now. I think,
yeah, you're right.
And this comes back to my like Bush Clinton type of criticism, right? If you look at the policies of the Bushes and the Clintons, they're essentially the same. They're like 95% the same. Every now and then, one of them touts a talking point that's different. Like even on like the border, Bush and Clinton, where like things that are now viewed as controversial topics because of Trump, it's like they agreed on this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of Republicans are really at their heart, they're not really Republicans or conservatives. They're insiders. They're career politicians
or
first.
grifters.
Or grifters, right? Yes.
Truth be
Yes.
told, because
Yes.
they're seeing and thinking that this is what the people want.
This is what the people want, so I'll say it.
I guess
and I'll do it.
we'll give them what they want.
But
It's
you're
like,
nobody. Then it's like, okay, so who are
Right.
you when the lights go off?
Right.
Like, do you have any spine? Do you have any?
Or better yet, when the spotlight gets turned on.
Right. And your vote or your stance is the one that matters, right?
Yes.
That, like, what are you going to do? You're going to hold your ground? Yeah. So I think it's happening now.
Yep.
That's why I think it's not R&D right now. It really is about like those who want liberty, regardless of whether or not we disagree on abortion, those who value free speech and value your right to exist and my right to exist, versus those who want to control you and silence any opposition because of their elitism status.
Nailed it. All right. I'm not your buddy guy. Says the financial system is rigged. The media are propagandists. Educators indoctrinate. Politicians are tyrants. The judicial system is corrupt. And voting is rigged. What are we defending? Is it worth preserving anymore? You know what we're defending? The Constitution.
Yeah.
The Constitution has not been changed. All of the things that you just listed hate the Constitution.
Yeah.
They're like, we need to get rid of the Constitution.
Wow.
The founding fathers, the Bill of Rights, all of that stuff is basically telling the people, hey, by the way, look at that list, all right, and remember the Constitution.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I completely agree that the Constitution and what the Constitution and the Declaration and the founding papers boil down to is your neighbors and your community and your family. That's what you're standing up for.
Yep.
That's what you're trying to preserve. And it's worth preserving. And we can. I think actually, like one side note is if you dig into how a lot of some of the irregularities happen in this election, they happen because there wasn't as much oversight. Lots of them are literally instances of like literal physical paper ballots that if there had been oversight there, which boils down to more poll watchers, more judges of elections volunteering and things, they would have been more difficult to allegedly have happen.
Well, allegedly, but
I'm trying to be careful with
I'll say it. I'll say it.
Okay.
It's my show. I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I've watched videos
Yeah.
of these people taking ballots and counting them over and
Yes.
over again
Yep.
in the machines.
So that's like an analog
In Georgia,
example of so if this happened, could it have happened if there was an overseer there insisting that it was legal? No, it couldn't have happened.
Right.
So there is a way to counteract a lot of this. Some people are like, it's done. We'll never have another accurate election. If you dig into it, there are ways to counteract this. The vast majority of the allegations of fraud were avoidable because of these paper ballots and the physical ballots.
Well, the problem though is there is laws that says
Yeah.
we need to have the oversight.
Yep.
And they just booted out the Republican.
Oh yeah.
Overseers.
I know people personally who were. There's one guy who was kicked out for hours unjustly by the opposing party.
Yep.
And he got on the phone with lawyers for hours, and eventually they let him back in because they legally had to. But that means that there were hours in there of no oversight from one party. Why would you do that? Why would you illegally kick someone out if you know you're going to lose in 4 hours' time? Because it's a 4-hour window, baby. Like, I'm just saying.
It's a good question, Luke.
It's like, why are you doing this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Zarek says one problem with education is kids don't engage with outside world. Look up John Tyler Gatto. Also, classical ed might be something to return to. Good point. I mean, like you said, they treat kids like they're full-grown adults.
Yes.
Go sit in the classroom. Work the system. This is how we set it up. Deal with it. Oh, are you not? You have ADD clearly now. Pill this man.
Right,
Pill this young kid who can't sit still.
Ritalin or whatever. Yeah,
They're a child. They're they're filled with energy. They should be out running around causing a ruckus.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Getting dirty.
Yes.
Learning what the outside world is like also because
Yes.
they're not exposed to it. Even teenagers
Yep.
are not exposed. Why aren't we learning taxes in high school?
Why are we doing?
Did you learn taxes in high school? I didn't.
Nope.
Did you? No.
No.
No one teaches taxes. Why not?
Why are we doing these topics
I know
like
why.
high level math that have no relevance to us? And I'm not talking about algebra 1, which I think we still do use in a relatively daily basis. But why are we taking trigonometry when before we learn about the stock markets, which we can invest in at the age of 18, and taxes, which we have to deal with at the age of 18?
Yes.
Like it's ridiculous to me. Absolutely
You're
absurd.
absolutely right. It's ridiculous. But I know the answer. Because if they taught taxes to everybody, everyone would realize that it's kind of a flawed system.
Yep. And surprise, surprise, who pays for these public schools? Oh, taxes with no school choice, right?
Yes,
like,
exactly.
It's one big cycle that feeds itself.
My goodness. It's like I have a feeling like if we delve into that subject, we might get in trouble.
Oh, dude, I've gotten in trouble with that one. Teachers' unions are brutal.
It's the strongest union in the country.
Brutal.
It's the biggest union in the country.
They'll come for your head, man.
Do you know who Corey DeAngelis is?
No.
He's a very strong advocate for school choice. Nice. Been on the show. Shout out to Corey. Nice. Constantly, and they're winning. Like he's doing a great job of pushing school choice and getting it. There's some states that have passed school choice options.
Because when everyone hears about it, they want it.
Exactly.
It's just like term limits.
When
if you look at the polls, people who hear about them are like, heck yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, of course. It's common sense, and I want my money back.
That's why you weren't on the ballots, my friend.
That's it, dude. The system is real. The system is,
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. Minion says, endless weed, social media, and universal basic income will kill all innovation and make us dependent forever. You got a point. I mean, I don't understand the first part, but that's not for everyone. And social media, not everyone's on social media, but most of the newer generations are.
This is kind of like the Roman argument, right? Of like, keep them entertained and feed them, right? And they'll be happy. Like that's kind of the...
Make them sheep?
Yep, make them cheap.
Bah. Caleb Warden says, good chat, Adam. Veterans running is sense of good leadership. Myself being a prior USMC, my question to Luke is, will you stand your ground and walk the walk since our representative Mike Gallagher isn't a walker?
Mikey G. Yeah, man. I mean, all I can say is yes, but this is something where like you have to do it to prove it.
Good point.
You can say it, but you have to do it to prove it. And one of the promises I gave on the campaign trail, which I still hold on to, if and when I'm elected, is in my first year, I am going to either pen or support a push for term limits. So if there's a pre-existing push for it and I can just support it, I'll do that. Or I will be the sponsor. I'll be the author. And if I don't do that, come after me. Like, absolutely. Like that, because that's a promise that I can keep. I can't promise it'll pass. I need everyone else for that. But I can promise that I'll show you where my heart is.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Well, we got to get you in office first. All right. Let's see here. No F's given. I can't actually say your name because that's... but nice name. Says, Tom MacDonald made it onto Fox News for fake woke. Check out Another Young Brother and get him on the show. His channel is The Conversation. Oh, okay. I'll check him out.
I've heard of him, actually.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
He's an artist, right? Yeah, I think he has another fairly controversial
I'll
song.
check him out.
Yeah, I think
I'm actually I don't know if you knew this, but I've been DMing with Tom MacDonald.
Nice.
And he might be on my show soon.
Oh, that's too cool.
He's really cool.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he started following me on Twitter, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, dude, you guys have like the artist respect, and
yeah.
you've got the free thinker respect.
True that.
It makes sense. It makes sense to me.
So I'm trying to get him to go ghost hunting with me.
Oh yeah, have you heard his story about it, dude?
Oh,
that's a crazy story.
It's a great. If you don't know, it's on his YouTube channel. You can go check it out.
It's called like a visit to an asylum or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's a wild.
It's crazy,
and he does a good job telling it. I mean, Tom MacDonald is a good storyteller through songs. And
clearly, he is
through speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to chat with him. Caleb Boredom says, T-shirt idea for you, Adam. Kneel with consensus or stand for your conviction. Okay, I like it. That's good. I just honestly, the first part feels like an attack. I think I would rather put stand for your conviction.
Yeah.
You know, it's the positive message.
Yep.
And that's what I like to focus on. So I like where your head's at. though. Johnny says, shout out to Idea and Slug. Good old Atmosphere. Yeah, awesome. I love Atmosphere. I saw them live in the Metro in downtown Chicago. When I was like, I don't know, it must have been 18 or 17 or something. But
Chicago used to be a pretty big music city.
Yeah,
I feel like
and
it's
New York.
Not anymore.
Dude, where is authentic music anyway nowadays?
I was going to say Nashville, and then you said authentic, and I was like, yeah. That is, look, I'm a country music fan, but that's absolutely a shot. You guys got to be better. You got to be better.
I'm trying to bring it back. Let's see. Norm Iron John says, Adam, you should read Ayn Rand, Objectivism, Saved My Life, and Can Save the West. Do you know it?
Yeah. So she's like the go-to college independent thinker. I think she goes too far with some of her ideas. She's like I would say like a strict libertarian type of individual, but she shares a lot of deep, good, well thought out arguments.
Is that the who is John Galt? Is that the same? It is. Yep. Atlas Shrugged. I thought so. People have actually been suggesting I read Atlas Shrugged. So honestly, I clearly I need to get into some Ayn Rand because people are
Atlas Shrugged is I think kind of like her flagship.
Yeah.
What she's known for.
Okay, cool. 2 things on my radar. Thank you for that, John. Let's see. Jonathan Paul. Who is John Galt? Next super chat.
There we go.
All right. Atlas Shrugged. Yeah, I got to get into it. Koyoshido says that country with the guns is Czech Republic. Biggest petition, 110,000 signed constitutional right to possess a weapon. As only country, we also sued the EU against law restricting the possession of weapons. Good for you, Czech Republic. I've actually been to the Czech Republic, and it is awesome there.
I've never been there.
Man, and the people are awesome there.
Heck yeah.
Shout out to the Czech Republic. Yo.
Yeah, you guys made a good first impression on me. So
right.
Go get them.
Ooh, I love this next super chat.
Okay,
I'm just gonna, lay that out first. Ready?
Yep.
M51 Freedom says Crigler coffee is damn good. I got it. He's right.
How can you not like that?
It is
awesome.
good. I started my own coffee company.
Dude, yeah, that's dope.
It's delicious. I don't
love
have
coffee.
I don't have extra coffee. I would have, to give away.
I could have had it like right next to me this whole time.
Well,
some product placement.
I got it. You can see
where is
right
it?
there. You can see it. There's a bag sitting.
Oh yeah.
Right
okay.
There.
Yep.
I was just doing the camera
it's a nice
angle.
bag. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, clean. My mom actually designed the shield.
Yeah.
Little
that's
Crigler
dope.
coffee label.
It's like a family seal.
Shout out to my mom. She's probably in chat right now.
Yes. Shout out to moms.
All right. Nickel Dime says, were the guardsmen sent to D.C. purity tested, or was that overblown?
Purity tested. They were vetted. So they were vetted for quote unquote extremism. I was not one of them who were one of the individuals sent to DC, so I can't tell you from any sort of experience.
Yeah.
But I have read multiple official reports and mainstream news articles recognizing that they were vetted. I can't tell you what that vetting process looked like.
Right.
But I mean I can tell you I don't like the standard of calling a political faction extremism.
Agreed.
And then disqualifying your voluntary fighting force based on
who they vote for,
possibly who they voted for.
It's ridiculous.
It doesn't sound healthy to me at all.
I agree, 100%. Friendly Neighborhood Sawyer says, A10 go brrrr.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Nice. Brian says, don't forget to get Luke to smash the like button.
Hey.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
No. Oh, I got something better for you.
Oh, yes. The Hulk hand smash.
Thank you for this. Thank you, Brian. I was going to forget again. All right, I need you to
this.
put these on.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Put those on. I have a like button. I'm going to come over. Bring it in there.
All right, ready?
All right, smash it.
Here we go. Boom.
Not bad. One more.
All right, ready? Right here. I don't want to hit this. All right. Go like that. All right.
Boom. Okay, no. All right. Don't break the like button.
I love it.
All right. Thank you for that, Brian.
Yes.
I actually,
dude, I've seen these things on YouTube, and now I get to wear them.
to have Eliza smash the like button. I'm so bummed. Eliza, if you're watching right now, we're gonna have to get you back to smash the like button.
You got to do it.
Yeah. So, we'll do that eventually. All right. Jason Dixon says, "Did you get the hotel desk bell? Did I ever, Jason?" Ding, 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 ding. Thank you so much. I did get it. This thing is super dope. I mean, it is like really, it's kind of heavy. It's like back in the day when they used to make quality
Yes,
products. It was
yes.
probably made in the USA. I mean, who knows, right?
I feel like it's a Sherlock Holmes era, like you know.
I love that.
Bell, yeah, that's
So
nice.
good. Bing, 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 bing.
It is like you could melt that down and make it into like a cannonball. Or
Whoa,
something.
whoa! Why would I do that?
That's just the quality of it, you know. Not that
Sacrilege. Blasphemy. You're off the show.
Never.
That's it. We're
I'm
done.
sorry, Jason, or whoever sent that in. I'm already thinking guns, melted down.
Yeah. Cannonball. Cannonball. You went with cannonball too.
Well,
Do you have a cannon?
I don't. But it's too big for a.
Well, you can make
traditional-
multiple
you can make
bullets.
Multiple. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No,
I was just thinking,
one
scrunch
cannonball.
up one good shot. That's all. That's all you need.
Awesome. Yeah. Adrian says, Luke, did you think dismissing college loans would affect future recruiting in the military as an incentive?
Yes. So I'll tell you a story. So I was in basic training, and one of the instructors said, "No shame here. I want everyone who joined the military, because of the benefits, specifically educational benefits, to raise their hand." And half of the hands in the room went up.
Nice.
And he was like, hey, no judgment. That's fine. He's like, if you're willing to do this job and that's your incentive, that's okay. And I agree with that. It's a reason for me. It's not the reason for me, but that story I think illustrates that in my experience. I know it's an anecdote, but yes.
Well,
yes,
my brother
absolutely.
joined the Marines because they helped him get a college degree.
Yep.
And it's like, that's great.
It's great.
You know, why wouldn't you? You're serving your country and you're furthering yourself for your future.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yep.
It makes a lot of sense to me.
That incentive definitely goes away. So yeah,
Awesome.
I think that's a good point. I hadn't even really thought about that one, but yeah.
Yeah. Good questions. White Lasagna says, I decided to start eating fish again. When I caught a fish, the hook got stuck, and I say to it, "I'm sorry, dude. Let's just say I still don't eat fish." Right on. Yeah. It's doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Like hunting yourself, doing things your own way. You get a sense of what something is giving up for you. Fish are alive. I used to fish a lot as a kid. I grew up around fishermen, and so there was a lot of fish. I don't actually really like fish.
Same here.
It's a little
I don't like
fishy
seafood.
taste.
Yeah.
I don't like the taste of the ocean.
Yep.
I like white fish.
Same.
Well, granted, when I did eat meat.
Yep.
But it's still, if I were to eat meat again, I wouldn't feel comfortable going to get some meat that I don't know where it came from.
Yep.
I would want to do it myself.
So you like having to accept the responsibility.
Yep,
Which fits
exactly.
with the rest of what I know of you and
Yep.
what we were talking about, where it's
Exactly.
like accept the responsibility for what you're doing, and so you do it yourself.
Exactly.
Feel it, right? Like
Yeah.
there's I hunt, and like I'm not an avid hunter, I'm not like a pro or anything, but there's definitely this moment I would hope for probably anyone who's not a sociopath. Before you pull a trigger, when you're looking down the scope and you see a deer on the other end,
Yeah.
there's this moment where you're like, that's something alive, and I'm about to make it not alive.
Yep.
And I think that's good. You should feel it. I don't think it's wrong for you to make it not alive, as long as you're not just doing it for some sick
Just to kill
sadistic
it.
pleasure.
Right.
Go eat it. Go, that's fine. But you should feel it too. You should feel it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
you
that's,
should.
That's healthy.
I agree with you 100%. Awesome. Good questions tonight, everybody. Andrew says, Trudeau's gun ban in 2019 with 2-year amnesty period, which ends the same time the Queen's 1920 100-year peace treaty ends, along with the Great Reset. WTF. I didn't even think about that either.
That's wild.
Yeah, the gun ban, he's trying to get rid of guns everywhere. They really just
Justin,
want to
yeah.
get rid of guns.
They do.
They do, and it's not going to happen.
In the same time that they are trying to get rid of any opposing voice on Twitter or Facebook
we're
or
living in-
radio.
Crazy time, yo.
Yeah.
Oof. Josh and Jesus says, "Can you ask him my locals question?" Oh, Josh, yeah, of course. Sorry, let me jump onto my locals. I always have. I always ask my community. Let's see here. No one has posted on my my post. I'll look for it after while I keep reading. Carnell says, "Hey Adam, I know you like Tom MacDonald's Fake Woke, but have you heard Eric July's song Brainlet? Give Ripa a listen. I will check that out. I don't know it, but yeah, I'll check it out." Arcadian Twilight says, "Our education is corrupt ripoff of the old Perusian model, which made Einstein hate May till his late 20s. How do we get a modern model that gave us Franklin, Jefferson, Ford, Lincoln, Edison? See, I'm going to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah.
We can't fix education until we fix a lot of things in society. Relationships, family. Like there's so much askew. Even just self accountability. Like there's people are not focused on the future anymore. They're focused on now. Me.
Yeah.
And that is another issue. Society has taught you to worry about yourself. Move out of your parents' house. Get your own place. Be your own person. And these things, we're moving away from community. Suddenly you're not a part of a community, and then you're feeling lonely, and then you get pills, and then all of a sudden, see all the things I just listed. I just started. Yeah. So to have these people like Jefferson, Franklin, Edison, Tesla, these greats of our time, they were from a different era where the only thing people worried about was the future. They had to get food for the future, to prep for the hard winter. Like that's how life was for 99% of humanity. Seriously, 99% of humanity. Now we're in a time we don't have to worry about where the food comes from, because we just go to the store and buy the food. We don't have to worry about getting wood to keep the fire warm, to keep us from freezing to death in the wintertime. We just go to the thermostat now. We don't understand the path that took us here. So we are spoiled in this life. So life is about now, no longer the future. We need to make life about the future again. And before unless we do that, we aren't going to have greats like that anymore. That's my rant on that.
That's good. I agree, man. I think life is all about who you are in the small moments and in the monotonous days.
Yep.
Where, before someone did anything great, before any person, right, before George Washington surrendered his sword back to Congress after winning, the War of Independence, before any of that, there were hours and months and years and days filled of monotony where he was deciding who he's going to be.
Yep.
And so this is maybe an unpopular opinion. I know that the popular answer is like, everything is downstream of education. Educate people and then their lives will be better. And I think you're actually right. I think it's deeper than that. I think education is great. But if you look at great men and women of the past, I can't remember a single one who looks back and says, what made me who I was? My education.
Yeah.
What they say is like, these role models, these choices that I made personally, the drive and passion and responsibility that was instilled and encouraged and grown in me.
Yes.
And then I was able to build on it with a good education.
Yes.
They don't say the education is what saved me. They say like the character and those choices are what were upstream, and then education was just like a building block.
Exactly.
Right.
So I mean, Elon Musk, they weren't hiring people with college educations anymore.
Yeah.
Because just because you have that piece of paper doesn't mean you're a good employee. Doesn't mean you have common sense. Doesn't mean you have logic. Doesn't mean you're going to work hard when you show up to work that day.
Right.
Those things aren't taught in schools. Those are instilled at a young age from the people you surrounded or that were around you, growing up. That is a big problem that we don't have anymore. Accountability, man, it's all part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good questions, man. You guys are killing it with the questions today. I found Josh and Jesus's question says, "Do you foresee a day if we defeat this leftist takeover that we finally repeal all gun laws and go back to sticking to the Constitution as written?"
Do I foresee it? No.
Or do
I hope for it?
Yeah.
Yes. And do I push for that? Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's absolutely the end goal. And if you aim for 100, maybe you'll get 99, right?
Yeah.
Like that. That's kind of my attitude there. But if I'm more of a realist, and I would say I don't foresee that.
Yeah.
I think we might get some really good things though. Right now, a lot of people are scared and they're hurting economically and personally and religiously and depression setting in and all this stuff. But I think there can be some really good days ahead.
Yeah.
But we have to stay involved. We can't be checking out. That's the one thing we can't, and we can't be given into this this understandable but unjust rage and anger.
Agreed.
And there's I get angry sometimes. I feel so incensed by the lies that are told, but you can't give in to that, and you can't do nothing. It has to be something that's different than those two options.
Well said.
Yeah.
But
Thanks.
but always aim for 100.
Yeah. Aim for 100. Yeah, exactly.
Yep, always. Never stop aiming for 100.
Yep.
Valley Fever says, smash that like button. Thank you, Valley. I hope you smash that like button. We got a good smash to like ratio today. I like it. Austin says Bitcoin is not inherently untraceable. You have to use a tumbler or a mixer to obscure their origin, but it can be done, and it is still taking power away from central banking. Let's see. Lancer says, be careful with ghost hunting. Spirits can be dangerous. I survived a really bad haunting. I don't say survived lightly. Check out Zach Baggins. Is he from Ghost Adventures? Wait, Zach Baggins. Is
Dude, that makes me want to hear this guy's story.
Ooh, I don't.
So
yeah, it is. It is that dude. Okay, interesting. I'll check it out. Yeah, right. I mean, when you hear stuff like that, it's like, well, what happened?
I know. I know. You want to hear
You're
this
just
story.
like teasing us now.
This is like someone tells you that they saw a Bigfoot. Like you're like, look, like I want to hear the story.
Yeah.
Like I want to hear. Like
Yeah,
especially when it's a normal dude. You're like, okay, tell me.
I have a ghost story.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah. I want to hear this.
Well,
one.
I've told this many times on my show. So people might have heard it before.
Sorry, guys, I haven't heard.
No,
it.
that's okay. That's okay. On my YouTube channel, my personal YouTube channel. This is the Adamcast IRL channel.
Yeah.
I still have Adam Crigler, which I've had for many years, which I haven't posted on there in a long time. But I was doing a modeling gig on the Jersey Shore.
Okay.
Actually, it was in an old mortar base.
Yeah.
From like 1890. You know, when it was the Navy. It was everything. You know, so they would have these mortar bases that would shoot cannon fire.
Yes.
You like the cannons?
Sailing. Yeah, that's right. We need this.
Don't you melt down my bell. So we're doing this shoot, right? And these park rangers came by, and they were like, "Oh, look at this photo shoot!" Like getting selfies with us in the background with their flip phones. They were flip phone selfies.
It's like
I can't. They probably looked horrible.
No, it's like
but
2005.
No, this was probably 2009 or something.
Okay.
If I had to like take a stab at what date it was, maybe 2008. And they went inside the mortar base because we had a permit to be there, so we were allowed to be in the area where we were at. But it was like in this mountain. I don't want to say mountain because it was like a huge hill, but there was like a train like trough cut in with like huge 20-foot concrete walls
where they'd bring supplies and stuff.
Yeah, and there was a railroad track going all the way in.
Yeah.
And then right at the end of it were these old steel doors that were locked. And they came by, and they were obviously going in because they did go in after they took some selfies and asked some questions. They went in, they like unbolted the chains, moved the whole thing, whatever, and like opened it up, went in there, and then they came back out, and they didn't lock it. And I was like,
oh, here we go.
They didn't lock it, guys. Let's go in. And everyone's like, no, we are not going in there. And I'm like, I'm going in there. And they're like, please don't get killed. And I'm like, what's going to happen? Like, who's going to get? So,
famous last words.
So I picked up my phone. And I went to video and I just hit record and I walked in. And that video is on my YouTube channel. Okay. Now that that's been established. So I walk in, right? And it's really, you see some light. I go into this dark area and I could see it's this super long hallway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, like this is kind of cool. And I'm looking around, I see some more real. I'm like, I say, this is kind of creepy. And right as I say that, like literally right after I say that, you hear this like playful giggle.
Oh,
like
no.
a playful, like something giggled at me.
Oh Lord.
I did not hear that giggle. But in the video,
it's there.
You would be like, how did you not hear that? Like, wow. I'm telling you, I didn't hear it. If I heard a giggle after I just said it's creepy, I didn't even go into, this is literally like 30 seconds. I'm like, I'm not even into I went deep into this place, man. I kept going. All right. I kept going, and I didn't hear anything else after it.
Yeah.
But right at that moment, something giggled at me. Now, I was telling all my friends this.
Yeah.
Like, look, a ghost giggles at me, like, or listen. And, everyone's like, whoa, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
So I was showing one of my friends, and it was like 3 a.m.
Oh, no.
Okay. So it was like super quiet. Now, I lived in New York, so it's rare when it's like really quiet.
Yes.
Yeah. But we're laying there, and I had the sound all the way up because I was like, we were trying to like analyze it. And about 15 seconds after the giggle. I'm walking through this doorway. It's almost like I'm stepping through the threshold of something.
Yeah.
And it's like someone turned the white noise knob up.
Uh-huh.
And you can hear, it's kind of like, and you hear a woman screaming,
No.
"Oh my God."
Oh, no.
I'm not joking. You can go right now to my YouTube channel. I think the title of the video is "That Freaked Me Out."
Yeah.
So you can find it. It's just
Adam Crigler YouTube.
It's it was crazy. And I'm telling you right now, if I heard that,
Yeah.
everyone's like,
registered.
well, an echo from, outside. And I'm like, no. I cannot unhear that woman's scream. I can hear it right now in my head. I know exactly. I can hear that scream. And it is a woman's voice screaming, "Oh my God."
Wow.
Like something was going, like, creepy, man. Creepy.
Yeah.
So that's my ghost story. You can go check it out.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's freaky. Yeah, I believe in that stuff, man. I mean, I believe there's a spiritual realm, and I think that guy's right. Like, I like spooky stories, but I'm also like, be careful, man.
Be careful.
I think it's real, and like it's beyond us.
Once you believe.
Yeah, and not just once you believe, but once you like go welcoming it into your life.
Yeah.
I think there's one thing
Good
to
point.
be like, hey, like I love exploring abandoned buildings. In
Me
high
too.
school, I
Can't
did
wait.
all the time.
Yeah.
And possibly more recently than that. And
I see what you did there.
But there's something to be said for like drawing a line and knowing like, okay, when am I welcoming something into my life that might be real that I don't want to screw with?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Look, we are way over, but I couldn't stop. We were having such a good episode. Thank you for driving down. You drove all the way here. It's,
man.
Just to join me on the show. I really do appreciate that.
Well worth it. Thank you
so much. I'm gonna give you the camera. Why don't you tell everybody what your plans are for the future, how they follow you. Just have at it. You got it. All right. Yeah. So I am definitely going to be running again. I mean, unless something massive happens in my life, I'm looking at the redistricting process. They're redrawing some seats and some district lines, but I'm definitely looking to stay involved. And until then, I want to stay involved through online means, right? Through like social media, through starting a few organizations, which I referenced earlier. So you can follow me. The place where everything is linked the best is at Real Luke Negron on Instagram. Okay. And that's where all my other socials are linked, or at lukenegron.com or negron2020.com. It takes you to the same place. So there we go. Yeah, that's the one. And nice. I love staying in touch with people. I love trying to grow the network and get the message out. And this stuff that we're talking about, man, just being open with people, being able to talk through policies, talk through things that we might disagree on, things we agree on, ways forward, solutions as opposed to just the problem. So yeah, that's kind of who I am. That's my heart. And I love seeing things like this happen between people like you and me. Yep. This is awesome. This has been great. We're going to help change the future, bud. Dude, let's do it. Well, real quick, Jason Dixon just dropped a super chat, says, "Tell your guest I respect his stance on no violence." I do too. Nice. We're not going to get to the future with violence. Yeah. Mutually assured destruction. Yes. If it goes there, it's going to happen. Look, thank you. You bet, man. Thank you all for joining. I had what a good episode, man. Awesome. We dropped a lot of good. This is the kind of conversations that are helping coax the change that we want to see in the world. Right? Yeah, heck yeah, man. We're being that. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow here on AdamCast IRL. Good night.